Who's reading the intro?
You can go ahead and do that if you'd like, Pat.
I got it.
Oh, wait. No, you don't.
Yeah, 27th edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable, 9th episode of Season 3. Right?
Let me double check that. I've got the 27th edition, 9th episode of Season 3. Do you have all the words written down somewhere?
I'm on it, man. I copied and pasted from last week.
Yeah, good job.
It's a professional.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. All righty. Tonight we've got a really big show. Really big show. 3 nice, clean fellas from Seattle, Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, Nirvana. All right, let me get the recording going here. Oh, Jeremy's on. Hey, what's up, Jeremy?
Hey, Jeremy.
Testing. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
The YouTube is actually live, but we haven't actually started recording the show. I'm recording right now. All right. Okay.
The wasteland is the post-apocalyptic mess. As the sole survivor, one out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core. Gross atomic waste. From deep within the core. Gross atomic waste.
Welcome to the 27th edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. It's the 9th episode of Season 3. We are the show that compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quest with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everyone. How are we doing tonight, everybody?
That's awesome. Is that your first time you've ever read that, Pat?
No, I think I've done it a time or two before.
Done the roundtable intro before? That's great. You nailed it. Out of the ballpark. Good job.
So, Andrew, how we doing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. How are you doing this evening, Pat?
I am doing great, thank you. We got Dennis in the house. Dennis, good to have you on again. We've missed you.
Doing?
Awesome. No, it's great to have you back, Denny.
Are we still the Fallout Feed? I thought we had changed to like a zoo kind of podcast from what I remember. Because all my notes are like zoo based, so I don't have anything for the roundtable. But I'll sit here.
We'll do zoo talk. This is episode special zoo talk episode.
This is episode number zoo.
Zoom, and we also got Jeremy in the show tonight. Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Hello, guys.
What's up, Jeremy? Yeah, we so this is episode 2 of Zoo Talk, our zoo podcast about zoos in the format of a morning zoo show.
Oh God, no, that I draw the line. No morning. So the YouTube is not started up. That's weird. We're live. Oh, hey, Andrew, is it waiting for 10 o'clock? Did you schedule it for 10 o'clock?
I did.
Oh, I bet that's the problem.
Does it wait until 10 o'clock before?
It looks like it may be. Here, let me log. Press on. I'll log on as ASA and see if we can get it.
I've got it. It says it's live. I'm on it. Yeah.
Okay.
We're broadcasting some. Looks like Doc Mitchell sitting there talking to you. He must have just woken up in New Vegas.
That's right, man. Or General Tullius, if you prefer.
Oh, is it Tullius?
Tullius is the voice of Doc Mitchell.
I heard Nick the other day. Who's Nick?
Nick is Bellathor.
I mean, in
in real life? Or
New Vegas or 3? I don't remember which I was playing because I just switched recently from Fallout 3 over to New Vegas. Was it the leader of the Enclave? Was he Nick?
That would be 3 because I don't know that Nick is in New Vegas.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was, but I definitely heard Nick Valentine's voice. And,
nice.
Enthir, right? Isn't Enthir in the Magician's College? Call it the Magician's College. Look at me, what an idiot.
We're gonna get like 6,000 Skyrim letters now. Stupid freaking Fallout.
You people don't deserve to talk about Skyrim. You're not worthy.
It's where you learn to, card tricks and you get
It's a magic castle.
I would actually like to go there. People give Magic such a bad name, but I would love to go to.
Okay, Magic podcast because I'm a huge Magic dork. Okay. I love Magic shows.
Yeah, I would love to see. I've only ever seen a couple professional Magic shows in my life, and they were like, when I was a kid, David Copperfield. My dad took me to see David Copperfield and that sort of stuff.
See, that's how out of touch I am. You guys talking about like quote unquote real Magic. I was thinking of like Magic. Ooh, Magic the Gathering podcast. Ooh, yeah. I can do that. Get ready to tap your mana.
Yeah, that's another thing. The tabletop card game and stuff like that. It's I've never actually played that. I had a lot of friends who played Magic and Dungeons and Dragons growing up, but I never got sucked into that.
Yeah, my
Andrew was too busy with the ladies.
Yeah.
No.
And Vampire the Masquerade, but that's the best multiplayer tabletop card game ever, or best multiplayer collectible card game ever.
In Indiana, our tabletop card games were called euchre.
Yes, that's what I grew up with.
I never played euchre. I played pinochle and rummy and just about all the other ones. I never euchred.
Pat is an old woman, everybody.
That's me, man. I am totally an old woman. I played the bridge. I played your hearts. Yeah, you got it.
No offense to our older female Fallout Feed fans. Let's not alienate anybody. And moving on, today's first quest.
The Fallout Feed survey 2017. We need to figure out who our oldest female listeners. I know it's rude to ask female listeners, so we can't ask out, but if you would like to write in and let us know. That's interesting to know, too, little demographics of the show. Who's our oldest female listener out there?
And what's your favorite hard candy?
Hitting or
you got that bowl of licorice sitting out that hasn't been touched in like 15 years. Yeah.
Pull out one piece and get them all. Yes. So Dennis mentioned some quests. We do have some quests we'd like to get into this.
Indeed, we do.
We're going to do some Tales of the Commonwealth in a roundtable style. We will discuss two quests specifically: Indecent Exposure, which is a continuation of the quest Full Exposure, which we discussed probably 2 weeks ago. And we will also get into a quest called Love and Peace out there at the Fiddler's Green Trailer Park. So those are our big stuff to get into for this evening. We've got a few other news tidbits and stuff like that to get into. But I don't know, Pat, how you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. So we want to do we want to help you? You want to jump into one of the quests? Let's do that. Let's get to business, and then we'll do some of our sidebar business maybe after we do Indecent Exposure. So as I've shared with a couple of you guys, I had major bug issues with Indecent Exposure. So Andrew, it sounds like you were able to get through it. Do you want to run us through Indecent Exposure, and the rest of us can jump in as we go along?
Yeah, I can do that. Pat, right now we got the YouTube on. That's not Arthur, is it?
That is Arthur.
That is Arthur. That is great.
That is Arthur. Yeah.
Love that.
Got it.
Oh, good stuff. So
looks like a prospector.
Yeah, so I was gonna say he looks like the old 1860s banker style mustache. I like that.
Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmers.
Jeremy, you also finished Indecent Exposure, so I'm gonna need help getting through this quest because it was, in my experience, a little bit all over the place. It's one of those that, and Chris likes to do this. He likes to say go to an area and investigate it, but he doesn't put a quest marker on any specific thing at that location. So you have to go through and sort of experience the location and dig around and really, feel out to what the object, what you're looking for.
Oh yeah, I definitely struggled with it as well, and I might have had it glitch a little bit on me, but I have to admit I did have to look up on some forums to help me on a couple parts.
Yeah, no, I definitely did too. This was one of those quests. I don't know if you guys see. I never played them to completion. I only played them like at a friend's house and stuff when I was over there. But if you ever played the games like, what were they called, like Myst or Riven?
Mm-hmm.
It's like observational games where you have to go in and like touch things in the room to experience. See, okay, what is this clue? Where's this puzzle? Where's this note lead me to? There's not a whole lot of action and stuff. Where in this quest specifically, Indecent Exposure, there is a little gunfight and a little bit of that here and there, but it is much more of the observe your surroundings, figure out the clues, touch everything in the area, explore the hell out of all the buildings and everything. So just before we get into the quest, we'll give you a little bit of a reminder. This is a roundtable discussion format, so we do like to say that we assign our characters different attributes, and then we talk about the quests and how we accomplish the quests. finish the quest with those attributes and how that affected our players. So my special and general, I was really kind of right down the middle, like a 6-2, 5-5, 4-3-3. Like there wasn't anything that stood out. The perception is low, the strength is a little high. But at this point, as I'm going through, my strength is still the same, yet everything else is jacked up a lot, except for luck. I've kept my luck down at number 3. I really don't invest a lot in luck at all. But my perception is 10, and my agility is 10. And that is one thing that I have to avoid because that's something I always do. I always fall back onto VATS. VATS is always my crutch. And I've done it again. My perception is 10, and my agility is over 10. I have a hard time not falling back onto VATS just because is it called like quick twitch or whatever that's called? I'm not
reflex.
Quick reflexes. I'm not good at just firing from the hip, just aiming with a gun, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm very dependent on that VATS stuff.
I think VATS is a big part of the mechanic, and unless you're using a mod that is using bullet time, there isn't a. It's a big part of the game. If you're free aiming, good. You might be a COD player, but part of it's encouraging you to, just like Skyrim encourages you to be a sneaky archer. Fallout kind of encourages you to use VATS.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I don't think I rely on VATS, but I couldn't imagine not using VATS for things like just when a bunch of different little bugs and things are right up on you. If you had to. There'd be so many instances I would just, be killed so quickly without VATS.
Yeah.
I mean, I would challenge any, person that plays Skyrim and Fallout, at somewhat the same, proportion, that when you play Fallout for a long time, then you go to Skyrim, you're not clicking on your VATS button.
I was doing that when we went back to do the special edition roundtable for Skyrim. I was just like pounding that VATS button all the time, just bringing up different menus. I'm like, no, where's my VATS? I got to free something so I could shoot it with my arrow. And that brings up a good point. Like my VATS isn't always just to kill something. I bring up VATS like as a strategy tool, like as a biosensor, just to get a sense of what things are in the room. It's not just to kill things. It is very much worked into the game, the whole Pip-Boy. So I guess I shouldn't feel as much shame as I do, but it just goes to show the purpose of the roundtable is to get yourself out of your normal patterns. And just because we're at the end game here, we're in our last probably like 4 or 5 episodes of the roundtable season here. Like I'm falling back on my old habits. I'm hopping back into VATS. I'm pumping all my points into perception and agility, and but I am using sneak, which is different for me. I usually just plow in with one of Pat's explosive shotguns and take out the room. Were we talking about your explosive shotgun on air at all, Pat? Or was
I don't think so.
Pat got a new toy that we'll have to talk about here in a little bit. So we'll get into decent exposure. It kicks off right after full exposure. Full exposure, you find, what was just a brief summary of that? There's like a naughty picture that you find. You have to develop a naughty picture and you bring it back to the Photoshop. Say that there is an art dealer or art collector, not dealer, who's interested in the photo. So you find this art collector, and this person is over at an area that we have experienced before with Tales of the Commonwealth, over at is it called a bordello or brothel? I'm not sure.
Brothel.
It's over.
Well,
is it?
I think it means the same thing. No.
Yeah, it means. I thought it was brothel. Maybe it's bordello. I may have it wrong.
It's the Boston Bordello.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And in the bordello, I don't even remember what was the Saint.
It is a brothel, I think.
Saints.
Only a bunch of us geeks would argue over the terminology of what is essentially the same thing happening.
All wrong. It's a whorehouse.
Winner.
So you go into the Boston Bordello, and you have been in this place from, I believe the quest is called Saints and Sinners, where you had I don't know, there's a little battle outside. You had to break it up and go off and fight some people and come back. But so we're back here at the Boston Bordello. It's right by Hangman's Alley, right there at the river's edge, on the Charles River there, if you want to give it a location. So you find Guthrie in the back. He's kind of an interesting looking guy, sort of a tan suit, slick back hair. He's a
total creeper.
A weird handlebar thin mustache. I don't know anything. Sorry, Pat, I just blanked on his name all of a sudden because I was trying to remember. What was the guy who created Twin Peaks? Is that Lynch?
David Lynch.
I don't know anything about David Lynch, but if I did, this looks like David Lynch.
David Lynch is like the most normal-looking guy you can imagine.
Really? Okay.
He is total Mr. Normal.
I just picture him being creepy for some reason. Yep. That's just because of
Could not look more normal.
I apologize to you, then, Mr. Lynch. So we find Guthrie, and he tells us that this naughty photo that you brought him brings him one step closer to a complete collection. Now, he brings up an artist from the past who was not respected in his time, but has now become a current respected, sought-out artist called Benjamin Spader. His art used to be regarded as pornographic, but after the bombs fell, it is Guthrie's opinion that, and I quote, "Art is the greatest humanity lost to the Great War." So it is his purpose in this Commonwealth wasteland to collect as much art as he can to display it. So that is what we're going to do here, is try to complete his little collection here of Benjamin Spader photographs. He's specifically looking for a photograph to complete this collection of these dirty pictures. So let's see. The final photo of the set, and he knows of this set, was confiscated, shall we say, by 4 priests or men of the cloth. I'm not sure if they were all what denomination they were, if they're all Catholic or not, but of 4 men of the cloth confiscated this picture and set up a very intricate puzzle in order to discover the location of this picture and hide it behind the secret hidden location of 4 different keys. And you're like, holy crap, what is going on here? But anyway, Guthrie had sent out someone already before you to find the clues to get these keys. He'd already sent out someone looking. And anyway, he says, well, you want to start at the South Boston Cathedral or church. I'm not sure if it's cathedral or church on the map. But you start off down that way, isn't it? It's off by, where is that located? It's on the very eastern edge of the water, sort of like by the brewery, the 4-leaf clover. No. Where is it exactly?
Yeah, it is way on the far east, yeah.
The Gwinnett restaurant. It's right by the Gwinnett restaurant. So once you get to the I fast traveled. I know everybody else is looking down their nose at me.
No, I'm fast traveling too.
I'm fast traveling all over the damn place. I go to the Gwinnett restaurant and I jog over to the South Boston church. There by the front door, you find a guy collapsed down with a leg injury named Denton. And he's sitting there by the front door. Hey, Jeremy, can you mute your microphone if you got noise in the background? Denton, we find him by the front door, and he was the previous person who was sent out to find the clues for these keys. So you talk to him for a second, and then you agree to help. Well, I did, at least. I'm not sure what happens if you refuse to help. Just say, rotten hell, see ya, quest failed, bye.
Good old Andrew. Always want to pitch in when somebody
needs
a hand.
So I enter the South Boston Cathedral, and I'm not even sure what's going on here. The Pat, did you get this far into this?
I got through Denton, and that's where things.
Oh, it wouldn't let you into the church.
Yeah.
So is there anything you'd like to?
So wait a minute. So you find Denton. What's the location where? So the location where you find Denton is like way in the east. Where is that? I mean, what's the name of that location?
It's either South Boston Cathedral or South Boston Church. I'm not.
Okay. All right, so
it's Cathedral.
Cathedral.
So maybe there's some. So for me, I did my conversation with Denton. He said, I think he found 1 key out of the 4. Is that right?
I believe he has 1 of them. Yes.
Yeah, and so he says, go find these other 3 keys, and he gives you a note. And in classic me fashion, I forgot to read the note, but I just looked at my map, and it was sending me to the church that is involved with saints and sinners.
Okay.
Which is over back towards the middle of Boston, near pretty close to Diamond City.
Yes, that is interesting you bring that up, because I also got a quest marker to send me there.
But did you go into the place where Denton was, or?
Yes, I did both. I went to the location you're talking about, the Saints and Sinners Church, as well, and ran around for like a fucking hour.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're in this together.
So I gave up on that and then went to the graveyard location, which we'll talk about later, and figured all that out, and then came back to where Denton was, and then went inside his place and figured that all out. And then when I came out, the map marker that you're talking about for Saints and Sinners was gone. So I think there's some weird.
Okay, all right.
And I
accidentally puts you there,
I had to jump into. I had a very similar thing happen with me with just quest marker issues. Right at that moment, I had one that directed me into the cathedral, but then another one directing me elsewhere on the map. And I went into the cathedral at first, and then it sent me to a quest marker that was like stuck in the wall, kind of like floating in the middle of nowhere, and. I just basically similarly had a weird quest marker thing, and I just kind of ignored it and moved on to the other locations.
Well, once I did get back to the South Boston Cathedral, where Denton was out front, I walk in, and off to the left, there is a control panel on the wall, like a fuse box that you've seen. We've seen these before, where you screw the fuses into different patterns and it opens up different doors. We've seen this puzzle before in the game. I forget exactly where. I'm thinking Far Harbor for some reason, that you had to find different fuses or something.
There's a couple. There's the USS Constitution. There's one in Nuka. Yeah, there's a few places. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a fuse thing over there on the side on the wall, and then there's also 5 like buttons all in a row going off to the side of this sort of like fuse box. Well, if you click on the fuse box, you say activate. It tells you that the fuse box can be jerry-rigged if you have the 3rd perk and the refractor perk. If you have 3 levels in the refractor perk, that refractor takes a perception of level 7, and I believe refractor is energy.
Yeah, energy resistance. Yeah,
energy resistance. So you have to have the 3rd perk in that, which basically means, are you an electrician who can take a shock? If you can take a shock, then you can jerry rig this fuse box. Well, I had perception of 7, so I could have, but I don't have any in refractor, so I could have spent 3 perks, but I was just like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. That seems like a really high investment. So I decided to just go ahead and through the rest of the quest and figure out what was going on. So I went and just started tapping on those buttons. Speaking of stupid quest markers, Jeremy, he was very ambivalent about his quest markers, where he'd put them like in the graveyard to sort of like investigate this whole general area, right? Mm-hmm. But when you step into that church, it's like, here are 5 quest markers above each of the buttons, and you're like, how is that helpful? When you're like, push quest marker 1, quest marker 2, quest marker 3, quest marker 4, quest marker 5. So you have these 5 buttons there. They all have a quest marker floating above them, and you're supposed to punch these buttons and figure out what about the environment is changing after you touch these buttons, of course. Well, I think that I search for things so well. I think that I'm very thorough when I step into a room in these games, and I just look, and I feel like I look at everything. I try to touch everything. I try to pick everything up. I try to find all the secrets in every room. But I'm still like the least observant person in this room, because I'm punching these buttons. I have no idea what is happening in this room. I can't figure out what is going on. Jeremy, did you have any idea what was happening with those buttons? First off?
I'm similar to you. I tend to miss these things, but this time I found it. It's up, just up toward the ceiling. There's a cross, and I noticed some lights on it. And as I was pushing the buttons, the lighting arrangement was changing. So
yeah, exactly.
Showing on the cross.
Yeah, there's a star pattern. There's 5 lights surrounding a cross if you look up to the ceiling and the gable, exactly like he was saying. But I just didn't look up. So I'm just like looking around trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And of course, there's switches, so I should assume that they're lights, right? So I should look
Yeah,
up.
that's. I think that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I didn't look up, but eventually I figured it out after getting really frustrated, running out of the church, going to find other things, probably going to that fake location Pat was talking about, coming back, going to the cemetery, coming back. Anyway, it took a long time for me to finish this this quest, and it was a big headache. But anyway, after you figure out, and I still don't know the correct pattern.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
did you? I couldn't make any sense of it.
No, it wasn't like switch 1 turns on light 1, switch 2 turns on light 2. It was like switch 1 turns on lights 1, 3, and 8. And then switch 2 turns on 2, 4, and 6. This switch 3 turns off 1 but turns on 3 and 4. It was a really weird pattern that I couldn't figure out. It was kind of like if you played Skyrim, there is, I think, to open up some sort of a dragon scroll at some point, you have like 5 buttons. You got to press these buttons in a weird order, and then it's similar to that thing.
Well, to be fair, a good portion of the time, the Bethesda, people are yelling at Bethesda for saying, "Oh, your puzzles are so unbearably easy, and it's no challenge, and give us a little puzzle." So when the mod author comes and makes it a little bit more, not right on the nose, there should be a happy medium in there. But that's kind of what the fight is against.
Well, I'm just too dumb to figure out the puzzle. You know what I mean? Like. Again,
good. Admitting it is the first step.
It's like there's Rift and Mist and Riven games again all over. I'm just not observant enough to know that the clues that I'm looking for.
No, I'm there with you, Andrew. I don't play Mist in those games. My wife is excellent at the game. She devours those games. She gets through them in like 20 minutes. I'm sitting there going, I'm banging on the screen going, give me somebody to kill.
Yeah, my wife's the same way. She is so good with those games. Yeah.
I'm like Pat in that, I picked up a holotape. We'll just stash that away and never listen to that. You know how many clues and stuff that I miss just because I like forget to look at the terminal or I don't listen to this holotape. And so if I was better about paying attention to the clues that they are giving me, I wouldn't think it was so difficult. But since I'm such a dummy and like I don't even pay attention to the clues that they give you. But so what clues were given to us for that they were lights other than their switches on the wall? I don't know. Did Denton say anything about them being lights inside? Jeremy, I can't recall anything.
I don't remember him saying anything about that. I was just wondering why he was so hurt he couldn't go inside and hit some light switches.
Oh man, that'll come up here in another minute or two. That's sort of a good question. Your leg is so hurt that you can't go in, but here in a minute you're going to get up.
I was having flashbacks to the gauntlet to Harvey, I think.
What are you doing?
Can you be trusted?
Can you give this guy a stim pack, or should I just go ahead and kill him? So one of your first quest markers takes you off to near okay, and all you people in Boston, I'm not sure how you pronounce it in Boston. In Chicago, there's a section of Chicago called Hyde Park, but it's actually spelled Hyde Park. In Boston, do you pronounce the Hyde? Is it Hyde Park?
It's Hyde, to my knowledge.
Okay, so you go to Hyde Park, and it's sort of near Jamaica Plain, if you know where that region is. And you go to the church there on the edge of Hyde Park. It's not in the water. I know most of Hyde Park is submerged in the ocean side. The water that's coming up there, but the church itself is out of the water. And you go up inside of this church, keep winding up all the way to the top. You go to the back where the pulpit is. And all of these churches, by the way, if you're looking at these pulpits as you go through, a lot of them have cap stash and pre-war money and guns hidden inside the pulpit, which I think is really funny. So if you look at there, and then you go up the stairs behind, and then you wind up to the second floor, you go to the opposite end of the church, and then up to the stairs there, they have a belfry, a bell tower there. Up on the top of that bell tower, there is a lamp, and if you activate that lamp, it says you notice something shiny glimmering in the oil of the lamp, and you turn over the lamp, and you find a key hidden inside of the lamp. So there's your first key. At least that's the one I first found. So after that key,
question.
Yes.
Did you guys? I wasn't sure if it was scripted for it, but I assume not. I guess I had a vertibird parked outside and a super mutant / raider / gunner / Brotherhood of Steel battle going on.
That's much larger than mine. Mine, let's see, I walked in, there were Brotherhood of Steel. There was a vertibird. Of
So
course,
that was
I
part
shot,
of the.
yeah, I shot the vertibird down. There were robots were my random enemies. I had a Robo Brain and a bunch of the little sort of like iBot guys running around.
Just for a little clarity, Andrew, how many followers were you rolling at this point?
I don't know. Did I mention it last week? I'm sure I did. I have every vanilla follower
Oh my.
and the
Yeah, the fight was easier for you because you've converted everyone already.
Yeah, I don't fight anymore, guys. I boss people around at this point. I just go up and let other people do the work at this point, if you know what I mean. I got it made in the shade.
So Andrew has become the federal government.
Yeah, that is me. That is me. Big brother, as they call me. So let's see. You find the oil lamp at the top of the Hyde Park Church. Again, I had to fight a Robo Brain. There was also a battle going on out back, but it was the Brotherhood, so I didn't really go to their assistance. I shot down the vertibird. I really wish that there was stuff in the vertibird. I really wish that you could go over to the vertibird and pick out a couple of gears from the wreckage or some junk of some sort.
Missed opportunity.
A couple of pieces of power armor or something in there. Not like the suit, but just if you'd be able to find like a left arm or something fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to Lost, the first episode of Lost when the plane went down, even they were able to scrounge something off the plane that went down.
What did they get?
Oh, they got everything: drugs, eyeglasses, clothing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the whole
arm and everything.
Yeah.
And
that was my quick attempt to hijack this into a Lost podcast. if we can't do the zoo, Lost is my fault.
We'll ring up Michael and get him to join us, and we'll take him back like a flashback episode of Lost.
The pilot was in Heroes too. That's what I always noticed. The first thing there.
Greg Grunberg. He's a huge J.J. Abrams. He's like his pet. He's like the Eraserhead actor is to David Lynch to J.J. Abrams.
That Eraserhead, I swear, it looks like Tim Robbins, and I know it's not, but every time I look at that Eraserhead poster, I see Tim Robbins.
It's understandable.
So we're finding our oil lamp key, and then after you find that key, that pushes my next quest marker off was up into the cemetery, and the cemetery is even more so like the Riven and Mist sort of like clues. This one is really, really strange. When I showed up, there were a bunch of ghouls who popped up, a glowing one and varied levels of ghouls. But I happened to approach it from the side where I believe if I approach it from the Covenant angle, because it's just sort of north of Covenant a little bit above the lake that is there just to the west of Covenant. If you roll up that road, you can come up to the cemetery, and I believe you're up on the perch up above. There's sort of like not like a cliff, like a really steep drop off, but there's like an area where you can stand up above and get a nice view of the whole cemetery. And as the ghouls sort of notice you, they turn and look, and they'll start coming at you. I have enough shots in my VATS now where I just took out every single one from above. It's so much fun to just like pick off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I got all 7 of them in one VATS round. That's incredible.
So maybe this is a point to interject my explosive combat shotgun.
Okay, yes.
I was during my failed attempt to make this quest work. I tried this approach of this what is it? Is it Wildwood? Whatever the cemetery, like 3 different times. But every time I was able to, because I have sneak 4 and I picked up all the sneak mags, so my character's pretty darn sneaky. So I was able to sneak up and get within shotgun distance of those ghouls. And I took out every ghoul in that cemetery with like 4 blasts, because the radius of destruction on that explosive shotgun is so great. I was able to kind of like pepper the general area where they were standing, and they just kind of vaporized. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wonderful weapon. So anyway, that it's actually a really good sniper weapon, because it doesn't have quite the range of a true sniper rifle. But because its area effect is so ridiculous, I can actually snipe things from like a ridiculous far distance away, and it just kills almost everything with 2 shots.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Self-modded or
No, it was a completely random drop. I did not, I didn't cheat, didn't save scum or anything. It just sort of like, oh, here's an explosive shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's a little there is a named one in the game somewhere.
There's Le Fusil Terrible, which is not explosive. It's crippling. No, it's the one with the more kickback. It's got more recoil, but it does more damage.
Oh, the radium rifle has radium.
Oh, there's an explosive.
Yeah,
is there an explosive radium rifle?
It's the what's that one called? What's the?
Oh yeah, the one the Children of the Atom give you. Yeah.
That one has radiation damage and an area of effect.
Yeah. That one's brutal too, but you have to go to Far Harbor to get it.
Someone had to remind me what it was called in the YouTube chat like 2 weeks ago. What's my problem?
Because you've been soaking up the radiation for too freaking long.
Oh goodness. So Jeremy, explain to me what is going through your head when you approach this cemetery. What do we have any sort of clues going into it? What is happening at this cemetery? I was sort of lost approaching here. I didn't know what to look for.
I was lost too. I approached. I saw the ghouls. They're kind of centrally located. I did notice immediately. There's kind of a central tree. It's a very circular kind of layout or plan of the graveyard and gravestones. Tossed a frag at the middle tree and kind of blew them all up and took care of the ghouls. And I was looking through the gravestones, and I did eventually pretty quickly come upon one where I could examine it, and it was I came upon the, what is it called, the High Noon Priest or
Noon Priest, I think. Yeah.
The Noon Priest. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of the Gulch.
Yeah, that's
Dry Gulch.
The High Noon Priest.
But yeah, so without looking anything up, I was able to spot that, and on it had that poem, I think, right?
Yeah, actually, I have that jotted down here somewhere.
Let's see, you Mr. Prepared. Jeez.
Let's see. Here lies the Noon Priest. May he always rest in the midday shade. With him are his apostles, buried in the afternoon and evening, numbering the same as the hour he rests. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Well, and from that, I think I was on the right track. I gathered, I examined his headstone.
Yeah.
And I started looking for similar ones, and I was looking for, I found some under certain headstones. There's lockets and little things left, and I was thinking I'd find the key just sitting on one of those.
Yeah.
And I found nothing after searching for a long time.
So were you just searching the stones, or were you? Because when I actually went to YouTube to see how to, it was on the Tales of the Commonwealth wiki. Someone had posted a YouTube video about this quest, and that's actually how I figured out how to do it. But were you just searching?
Yeah, I was literally just looking and trying to look for something to interact with, like an A, press A to examine, or but I looked at a forum that said you could crush the gravestones.
Yes, there you go. That's what I was getting at. In the YouTube video, they had unarmed themselves, and they were just using their fists. So they were just punching down all the gravestones that they were looking for. So I thought it was cool that you can punch the gravestones and break into 3 pieces, and that will reveal the stuff that you're looking for. But evidently the Noon Priest. Okay, here is the location of the Noon Priest. The graveyard is set out in a circle with a number of gravestones between each area of the clock, shall we say. The tree is in the middle, and at noon, the shadow of the tree points exactly toward the gravestone of the Noon Priest. Now, I'm not smart enough or wise enough to realize that this happened. I had to read this in the wiki and watch the YouTube tutorial on how to solve all of this. So you find the Noon Priest, and you knock down his tombstone, and then you go find the other 2 that he's talking about, and you knock down the other tombstones, and you eventually find the key. Where you're making some background noise coming through, bud.
Sorry about that.
Fine. So I actually didn't use the clues at all to figure out which tombstones it was because I couldn't figure out what it exactly was getting at. So I just ran around and knocked down every tombstone in the whole cemetery.
There were so many.
Eventually found the fucking key, and it was on like the third to last one that I like I spent 20 minutes knocking down all the stupid tombstones.
So I had complete fail on the cathedral piece. I was like I said, I went to the cemetery and was just trying to find it. I read the wiki. I didn't watch the video, but I read the wiki, and supposedly like there's 12 tombstones that are the same, and those are the 12, and like the 12th one is the one or whatever. So I didn't knock over every tombstone, but I was knocking over like all the ones that were the same, and I got nothing. And at that point, I just kind of like, basically rage quit the whole quest line and didn't try anymore. But I was like trying it for like 3 hours, like different iterations. It wasn't like an instant rage quit. I felt justified, I guess, put it that way. But it didn't work. So what happened? You broke a tombstone and like the key was just there, or what happened? How did you discover the actual thing?
Similar to many of the quests, it just had a script pop up.
Okay, right, all right. So you knock over a tombstone and a script pops up.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So it would have been obvious. So because I broke a bunch of, so it may this is actually really helpful to me. I'm stubborn enough. I'm going to go try it again. Probably not tonight, but before the next show, I'm going to go try another. And maybe one thing I noticed with this is one of the other quests in the Tales, I forget which one it was. Like I did the quest, and like if I don't know how to describe this, but it seems like if I do the quest as soon as I get the quest, as opposed to, in the base game, normal fault, you can get a quest and you can do it like, 25 levels later. It doesn't matter, right? It's in your quest log. But I kind of had this suspicion that maybe with some of the mod author quests, just because they don't have as much control as Bethesda does, that if you don't do the quest maybe immediately, you kind of breaks. So that was one thing I did. I went back and like loaded a much older save game and went sort of like restarted at an earlier point. Oh. And that still didn't work. But now that I have some of these hints from you guys, I'm going to try that again and load an older save game rather than going for my current save.
Yeah, I agree that Fallout 4 is better about that, but I got burned so many times in Skyrim with launching a quest and then not doing it for a long time. That would burn Skyrim a lot. So
I came across a lot of from within the group, but also like online and stuff, people having the same thing. So maybe there's just something about the way mod authors have the tools they have available that happens more often.
So look around the cemetery, Pat. Go do some good graffiti. Take a spray paint can, knock over some gravestones. It'll be like you're a disgruntled 16-year-old all over again. It'll be great.
Nice. I was a very gruntled 16-year-old. I'll have you know.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't angry at anything. We were running around the cemetery, all of us. Jeremy, there are, I think, like 3 or 4 mausoleums perched around the crest of the rim I was talking about, and there's a couple of other buildings you can go into. I was convinced that the key was hidden in one of those buildings, so I spent a good hour just searching those like 4 or 5 little sheds over and over.
Spent some time in those looking for something.
Yeah, it's like you got to move a vase. You got to scooch something over. You got to find a switch. There's something hidden in the coffin over here. Oh, wait, look at the way that skeleton's hands are folded. That's different than that skeleton over there. That means something.
Yeah.
What does it mean? So I wasted a lot of time doing all that. Those buildings have nothing to do with the quest at all. You don't have to find anything in there. Or you can just randomly punch down the gravestones if you want. I don't think you even have to wait till noon to have the tree line up with the noon priest gravestone to launch the quest. I think you can just literally go up and punch down all the gravestones and eventually find the key. So that is my second key. And now I go back to the South Boston Cathedral where Denton was injured out front with the spotlights on the cross that I couldn't figure out earlier. This is at the point where I finally figured that whole mystery out. And then that reveals my third key. Where was that? That was in the safe under the pulpit, I believe. And then it gives you the quest marker to go out and speak to Denton again. So I step outside and talk to Denton, and what do you know? Earlier, his leg was so chewed up by a feral ghoul that he was on death's door. Right? He was about dead. He was a goner, right? We did not have much hope for Denton. All of a sudden, Denton's like, "Hey, great, you found my keys for me. Let's go, buddy. Come on, let's have a party. Let's all." So anyway, what does Denton do for you at this point? When you, did you have any other experiences gathering keys, Jeremy?
No, I think we covered it all. Yeah, just Denton being a real asshole at the end there. Just. But he just leads. Actually, I don't. He just said it's follow me. But then I saw the quest marker. I blew past him and just went right to the cellar.
Yeah, there's a cellar wrapped around the side of the building. There's, of course, like most of the churches in the game, there's a little cemetery off to the side, and in the cemetery are some storm doors down to a root cellar. So you open up those doors. And you go down, and what do you find down here in our basement, Jeremy?
Well, there was a couple random goodies here and there. I think maybe some ammo and some of those keys that we found seemed to open up some different boxes and whatnot. But basically, you come upon a holotape next to it's sitting at this sort of shrine at the end of the room, and there's like a bunch of kitten photos and pictures on the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's right beneath the kitten photos of this holotape.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but they were going for a pornography pussy joke.
Yeah, that's what I was picking that up. It was subtle, but
they said that the priest had gathered all the pussy paintings and put them in the cellar of the church. I thought that was really funny. That's a cute little joke there. So all the kitten paintings are down in the basement. But our collector wanted a photograph to complete this collection. But instead we find, like you said, a holotape. Now this holotape is from the artist in question. This is from our Benjamin Spader. This is an audio tape of Benjamin Spader, but since it's not a photograph, he wanted the bestiality photograph specifically. Did you play the holotape, Jeremy?
I sure did, and the photos seem to be foreshadowing a little bit of what we were to hear.
Yeah. The photos were dirty, and the audio tape was even dirtier. When you pick up this audio tape, okay, like you were saying, Jeremy, each of the keys that you pick up also opens up one of the treasures down in the basement. There's a duffel bag, there's a chem locker, there's like an explosive box, there's a red chest. There's the typical little containers all over the room, but each one of the 4 keys that you picked up opens one of the treasures. And you have, of course, all the pussy pictures, and then there's the holotape. You pick up the holotape, and that gives you the quest marker to go back to find, what was that guy's name? Guthrie. Go find Guthrie back at the brothel. No, the bordello. Sorry, the Boston bordello. And he is very upset because this is not a photograph. This does not complete my collection. He is not interested in this holotape, even though the holotape is it's pretty much a live action description. What is it? Is there spanking going on or something?
Yeah, it's a lot of sort of animal role playing, maybe, and
animal role playing. Okay, there, yeah. And he was into bestiality, so
yeah, it was suggestive. It had a lot of innuendo.
Yeah, but there was no actual photograph, which is what he was after. So he said that this particular artifact does not contain any artistic value. It contains a great deal of historic value, but not any artistic value. So he himself is no longer interested in whatever he sent us off for. He does not want this piece, which at that point I wanted to shoot him in the face because it doesn't matter. This is what you sent me out for. I'm bringing you this back. This is what you wanted me to do. Why aren't you giving me the money that you told me you were going to give me, right? But I guess since it's not specifically, he wanted some art piece where he wasn't very, like, I guess he was sort of specific. But, he just wanted this piece. This should have been plenty good for him. So I don't know what his problem is. But he gets all sort of pissy and does not give you any money for all of your troubles. But my quest completed right there.
Yeah,
I got like 500 and some XP. Now, at that point, does he give you some advice then, Jeremy?
Yeah, well, actually, I played it through 2 ways, actually, just because when I exited the bordello after, I had a crash, and I decided to say something different. And I thought it was interesting. So the first time I talked to him, he didn't want it. And he basically just said, it's of no value to me. Try and sell it at the auction house. And he's really short. And the other time I talked to him, he went a little bit deeper into saying, I prefer visual art, and this isn't my personal taste. And but then he suggested you could, I'm not going to pay for it, but you can try and sell it at the auction house nearby. I'll mark it on your map.
Yeah, so he marks it on your map, and it's literally just a couple blocks away. It is also right on the riverfront property down, just a few, maybe a couple 100 yards to the west on the riverfront. You'll find I believe it's called the Charles River Auction House, I think. Something very similar to that. But yeah, you go into this auction house. By the way, your quest is complete at this point. You don't have to do any of this. This is only if you want to get any of the caps that motherfucker said he was going to give you.
Yeah, this actually shows up under the MISC quests. I double checked because I was confused because I completed it but saw that message.
Yeah, it completes the quest but launches its own sub miscellaneous quest to get your money back for the item. And then it'll put a quest marker in the auction house that we were saying. Anyway, you go into this auction house, and off to the right side in the back, to the right of the stage, there is a bulletin board, and you can put objects that you want to auction off on the bulletin board. Well, of course, the game's not going to let you just auction off any random item in your inventory. This holotape is the only object that is available to be auctioned. So you go and you sign up basically on the bulletin board just by saying, yes, I want this item to be auctioned off. And then you go, and the quest says to wait until the next auction, which is basically yours. So I sat there in the chair and I waited for an hour. There's a bunch of chairs out here on the floor. There's a little stage that there's an auctioneer and an assistant. But I was sitting on the chair on the floor there, out just sort of like in the crowd, and nothing was happening. I was just kind of waiting around. I stood up and tried to interact with the auctioneer. He wouldn't say anything. The assistant also wouldn't say anything besides like, hello, hey, hi, hello, hey. And so I was like, something weird is going on here. And so I sat back down in the chair. I waited 2 hours, nothing happened. Waited a couple hours, nothing happened. And then I went back outside, and I came back in, and then everything started launching. So what I figured out is because I've been having a couple of crashing issues with all the weird mods and followers and stuff that I'm using. But after a couple of different crashes and reloads, I figured out that what you have to do is you have to go into that room, you have to sign up for the auction, and then when it says you have to wait for the next auction to begin, you don't actually have to leave the auction house, but you have to step back out of that main room towards the doors and either go up or down the stairs off to the level and then go back into that main room, and then the auction will proceed. There's some weird mechanic in the script of how he wrote it that you have to leave that main room and then step back into the main room, and that is what will trigger the auction to actually begin. And
hot tip for mod authors: not only do you need to make sure that your quest doesn't conflict and crash the regular game, you need to be sure that you're compatible with somebody rocking around with 30 followers in your mod.
It's only like 15 or 16 at this point.
Well, I apologize. I'll go back to my corner.
Yeah, so I walk back into the room. The auction starts. There's a few different people in the crowd bidding, and it gets up. It starts at I think like 5, and then goes to 6, 7. I think it ends at 800 caps is what I got for this holotape, which I am totally happy with. And like when I hear that, I'm like, oh man, that creepy Guthrie would have only given me like 300 or 400 probably anyway. So I'm really happy with the 800 caps that I got for going to the auction house. So in the long run, it does pay off. to ignore Guthrie and go to the auction house and pay it off. Did you have any cool experiences in the auction at all there, Jeremy?
I was in a rush to complete it, and I haven't gone there. I might just keep it for memories in the wasteland.
Nice.
My little Benjamin Spader collection.
Oh, great. I assume he kept that picture that you brought earlier. We probably don't have that picture. Did we get any money for bringing that to him?
I don't think so.
We probably got
I don't
money
know.
for taking it to the Photoshop proprietor earlier, I'm assuming. And she wanted to
I'm
take it.
curious if you can sell other things at that auction house, or is that just?
I believe the only item that was available was the holotape, but that would be great if he just wrote that into the game where you could just go and auction off your crap.
That'd be tight.
Yeah, it'd be really fun.
So is it friend of the show, Kyle? Isn't he one of the voices at the auction?
Yes, I was about to bring that up. The auctioneer, to my ear, when I heard him, to me it sounded like Kyle, and then that sort of sparked a memory. Oh wait, I think Kyle mentioned that he was, Bad X. He was those whalers, and he was also an auctioneer, if I remember right. So I was like, yeah, that probably rings a bell for a reason. I think we ran into another Kyle Brennan voiced character. That was awesome. Hi, Kyle. Got to run into you again.
Kyle, the new Bellathor.
Yes. So do we have any other things we'd like to cover with Indecent Exposure? Jeremy, did your roundtable role play any sort of role in how you had to go through the quests?
I don't think so. Just that I used explosives as I've been doing constantly to take care of those ghouls around the tree. I know also around the tree we didn't mention. Did you find a magazine there?
Oh, I did not. I should go back. What magazine did I miss?
At the base of the tree, I believe it was a Total Hack magazine, the Control Turrets issue, and it says what does it say? Includes the turret hacking source code.
Wow.
I don't know what that means though.
Yeah, what I was going to say.
It means so there's three of those. I forget where the other two are. There's the Protectron hack, the turret hack, and the Spotlight hack, and not with every. It's kind of not random, but not every turret, not every Protectron, not every Spotlight supports the hack, but most do. So when you find a terminal that controls any of those, you have the option to load that tape, and if you load that tape, it then gives you some other options. Like the turrets, you can actually you can cause the turrets to self-destruct. You can cause them to by default you can shut the turrets down or turn them on or off. But the hack lets you self-destruct or change the target. So basically, you can change the turret so that they'll kill the bad guys for you. So it's actually pretty handy. And the Protectron, if you get all the options, again, it doesn't work with every Protectron, but some of them will actually turn on this VIP escort mode where the Protectron will escort you.
Oh, nice.
And fight off your enemies for you.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah, all three of those are fun to have. They're not essential for every build, but they're a lot of fun to have because it just gives you another option.
Yeah, that's great. Do we have anything else we want to cover in that quest? I think I'm cool.
I'm good.
Right on. Pat, did you get through Love and Peace?
I did make it through Love and Peace. That one was one that I think that was the one where I kind of realized that, wait a minute, if I do the quest immediately, maybe I'm going to have better luck. And I did that, and it ended badly for me because I sort of kind of blew myself up again with the dreaded explosive shotgun. But I got through the quest and then blew myself up at the end. So yeah. I actually was a little disappointed. So in this quest, you have to go to Fiddler's Green to start, which is a little bit of an obscure location. It's kind of off the beaten track. I mean, I didn't find Fiddler's Green for a long time, in my regular sort of, Fallout wanderings. It took me a long time to find that location because it's kind of not near anything major. I don't know if you guys found it, before this quest. Did you guys find Fiddler's Green on its own?
I stumbled upon it from Fort Hagen. When I was doing that's where you'd find it. Yeah. So I like that location. I mean, it's a little tricky because there's a glowing one there, and there's some fairly tough ghouls, but it's also got some good loot.
It's
I-
it's a
got
very cool location, Pat. I used it as one of my my round table settlements. Do you remember the horrible round table design
yeah.
where all of my recruited settlers were dropping into the ocean and floating away? Well,
Yeah.
that was my settlement on Far Harbor. My settlement on the mainland that I was using was I put down a workbench there at the trailer park because there's not a normal workbench there. But I dropped down the duffel bag and then you convert it to the workbench.
Yeah.
So
And that's because it would be a good spot for a settlement. That's a good choice.
cool. There's lots, just because of the trailers, there's lots of interior areas that you can build onto, and if you can like build from rooftop to rooftop across the trailers, you can actually have some building structures there. So I found it fun to build over there.
Yeah, so I got that. I talked to, I was a little disappointed because the mod kills the ghouls that are there. Because when you get to Fiddler's Green, if you have the mod loaded, the ghouls are dead. I guess because the hippies have killed the ghouls. Which is
interesting.
Yeah, because if you go to Fiddler's Green without the hippies there, there's probably 10, 12, 15 ghouls. And there's also, did you guys find the 3 tapes about the little squirrel?
Not this time, but I have in the past. Can you fill me in on those again?
Well, I don't remember. I don't. It's basically like sort of like little Fallout-esque story, a kid's story about a squirrel who like trusts people and then he learns not to trust people. It's much better if you find. It's only 3 tapes and they're all right there, Fiddler's Green. If for listeners who haven't found them, I highly recommend it. Go to Fiddler's Green, find the 3 tapes, and listen to them because it's a riot. It's very funny.
I've only found one. I started listening to it. It seemed funny, but
yeah, it's a hoot. Yeah, you should find because they're all right there. You just got to look on the desks, and they're all out on desks or tables or whatever. They're all findable. And there's a suit of power armor. I forget whether it's leveled behind a master lock in one of the terminal and one of the trailers.
That's cool. I didn't even look around the trailers much this time.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I did. Andrew, you were talking about kind of earlier on how you kind of like defaulted to working your perception, your agility. For me, I like to work my locks up to master just because I just hate not being able to open a lock. So with almost all my characters, I eventually work lockpick up to master, and so I've got master with this character and was able to get in. There's also a key you can find, but you can also get in with just picking the lock if you have master.
Yeah, that's I love having the master hacker too. Just I don't like being kept away from stuff.
Yeah. I don't always get them both, but I usually try to get one or the other. And this character's not particularly smart, so
and generally they'll make it. Oh, if you can't hack, you can probably pick this lock.
Yeah.
Sometimes they prevent you, but
and actually, let me while we're kind of talking about stuff, we for the first time ever, I took the 4th level of lockpick with this character.
Oh, nice. What's that?
Well, that's the one that you don't break lockpicks or your bobby pins.
Skeleton key.
Right. Exactly. And see, the point I had never taken it before. But this is the first character that I've gotten to a really high level since playing Skyrim, and I realized how nice the skeleton key was. Not because you broke lockpicks, because who cares? You get thousands of lockpicks, you don't care. But because it saves you time, because you don't have to like restart your lockpicking. And I realized that the lockpick level 4, you don't need it because you don't want to break bobby pins. It saves you a lot of time because if you in a case where you would otherwise break a bobby pin, you can just keep jiggling the lock. And it saves quite a bit of time on every lock you pick. So it's actually, to me, I realized, this is kind of a quality of life issue. I'm less frustrated,
True. You must be perk rich.
Oh, well, I've got this character up to level 83.
Oh, there you go.
So the other thing I'm doing is just for some variety, I'm using one of the cheat mods to kind of respec myself periodically, just to kind of, I played all my Roundtable perks up to level, to the top level. And then I was getting bored, so I started dorking around with my perks. So I started out with Gunslinger, but I've now reassigned myself to Commando just to play around with automatic weapons. Just because
Is that Ish's respec?
I've used that. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm actually being more blunt. I'm using more of a blunt. Issues is the way to do it if you want to do it kind of lore friendly, because you make a chem and it does it kind of within the context of the game. So I highly recommend Issues Respec mod as a lore friendly way to do it. But I'm just doing a blunt force thing where it's like, okay, I've got 5 points of commando. I'm just going to use the cheat tape to terminal cheat to reduce those points to 0 and then add by 5 somewhere else. So it's much more blunt instrument. I'm not really role playing this character anymore. I'm just like power gaming.
So for those of you paying close attention, that's dorking as opposed to derping. Please understand the difference.
Oh, all the difference in the world. Oh my God. To the most casual observer, there's differences.
And if you get it wrong, you fail the Fallout feed. Turn it off now. We have nothing left to give you.
So anyway, so that's where were we? I got it. I think that was a sidebar within a sidebar. I was like 2 levels of sidetracking. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're getting the trailer park. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm at the trailer park and I go talk to Moonbeam or whatever the hell the hippie's name is, and they're like, "Oh, life is so good being a hippie." Yada yada yada. Here's this cute little kid or her little teddy bear jammies or rocket jammies or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Those are adorable pajamas. Do you know? I would love to have those for my toddler. Those are really cute, Jam.
That's Bethesda would make a killing if they put those up on the Bethesda store at Christmas time. Really every geek, every Bethesda fan would be buying those for either their own kids or their nephews or their nieces or Andrew's little boy. Mo would probably get 15 of those for Christmas.
With Andrew alone, whatever they want to market for Christmas time with Andrew, he would buy everything.
Yeah, that's right.
It has Fallout and Christmas on it in some fashion. I'm totally in.
You should suggest that to Bethesda. Think what a killing they'd make if they sold a little like kid onesie with that jammy pattern on it.
That's the best pattern. That's so good.
Yeah.
Just to annoy my family, I wore my Fallout sweater, my Fallout Christmas sweater for 4th of July.
Nice.
God, where were you that you could wear a sweater on 4th of July? Gee whiz.
Oh, it was like 90 degrees, and I was sweating.
That's great. That's great.
Radio edit balls. But I proved a point. I won.
I don't know if we've revealed this at all. I think Pat picked up an extra Christmas sweater.
I did, and I think at some point, we're gonna have to throw that into one of our giveaways or something. I was gonna save it maybe for the charity stream whenever we get that done in the fall.
That's awesome. Great idea. Oh, charity stream. Oh man, we got so much stuff that we can talk to.
Yeah.
I think the ultimate prize for the King of the Bunker Hill or the charity stream should be Pat's red premium Fallout feed shirt.
No. Off my cold dead body, Dennis.
Don't say that. He's going to start plotting.
Well, I don't know, man. He knows where I live, so maybe so.
Or I could just rip it off him at the podcast.
Cold dead body, dude. Cold dead body.
The podcast. We're gonna come up with a plan. Yeah,
so you go to hippies and you kind of introduce yourself and they say, blah, 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 blah. And then you kind of like, nothing happens, right? You sort of like, okay, like the hippies are the hippies. They're nice. And there's no real quest marker or anything else. You just kind of hang with the hippies, maybe loot the area or whatever. And then now again, I because, Andrew, you were talking about fast traveling. I'm totally fast traveling. I'm playing survival, but I'm fast traveling and quick saving because when you're on a roundtable deadline, man, you don't have time to replay shit. So I quick save, I fast travel, but otherwise I'm playing relatively vanilla survival. But in this case, I read the wiki and said, okay, how do you advance the quest? And it's like, well, you go inside one of the modded locations, and I guess that's because Chris has to use one of his own locations to control what happens next. Which is, you go into a modded location, you turn on your radio. And you got to pop up, distress, whatever it says, Fiddler's Green, distress signal received or whatever. You listen to it and they say, oh shit, we're under attack, come help us. And you got to go back to Fiddler's Green. You go back to Fiddler's Green and you're presented with a dilemma. You're on the horns of a dilemma at this point.
When Pat says an interior area, what you want to do, what he means is a modded cell that Chris himself has created for the mod. Like for instance, the bordello that we were talking about earlier. You want to go inside behind those doors, and that is what sparks the
And what's I'm trying to think of some of the other locations.
the bowling alley you can go into,
or the post
Belchers,
office, the Nahant
Jay.
post office, I think would work.
anything that Chris has created mod wise.
Yeah,
You can pop into behind a door and then hop right back out, and then you'll have that radio signal that you.
yeah, and it says, help us, you're our only hope. Soul Survivor, your only hope. You go back to Fiddler's Green, and there's problems ensue.
I just had this vision of Pat with the Princess Leia, like
The honey buns on the side of his head. Yeah.
honey buns. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. Proceed.
with the stun is the blaster on stun with the
crazy.
mysterious circular blue beam that never appears again in Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to kill the rest of the time, I guess.
Yeah. Blaster set to kill. So
Yes, we're still mad at continuity for everything, for Fallout mods, for Star Wars. Bring the hate. Bring it all.
It's like, hey man, it's this is a safe space for geeks to kind of rage against the dying of the light. So they say, you got wait a minute, there's what is the kid's name? Moonbeam, or what the hell's the kid's
Crystal
name?
Moonbeam.
Crystal Moonbeam, yeah. Crystal Meth Moonbeam, yeah. So little Crystal Meth Moonbeam has been kidnapped by super mutants. Yeah, so there's no way like a 6-year-old kid's going to be hurt by super mutants. No, it's going to be fine. Or the settlement's being attacked by raiders, and you got to find, well, which one do you do? So Andrew, which one did you do?
Well, these hippies are giving you all kinds of shit, by the way. You talk to these guys, and they're supposed to be free-loving and peaceful people, right? Hippies. But like Pat was saying, I didn't even think of this before. You show up and they start giving you a bunch of shit. They ask, are you with the Minutemen? You say, yes, I'm with the Minutemen. And then they like spit at the ground at your feet, and they're like, oh, the Minutemen, I guess they're fine, but we only believe in using peace to solve our problems. The Minutemen are weak because they use violence to solve theirs. And then you were mentioning, Pat, that all the ghouls were dead when you showed up, which brings to mind, so the hippies showed up and then they killed all the ghouls using violence. Fucking hypocrites, right?
Something, yeah. Those ghouls didn't kill themselves, did they?
You don't seem to like these hippies, guys. Well, come on, man. Like, all about the love.
But anyway,
does anyone really like hippies? I mean, I'll throw it out there. I'll be the bad guy. Does anyone? They smell wash.
Tons of friends who are deeply and rooted in the hippie culture, but I'd be burning tons of friends if I say I hated hippies. But that I do agree that the culture is a little, much sometimes, shall we say?
I'm surprised they'd survived so long in the wasteland.
How did they live so long in the wasteland? That's a great point. But anyway, there's one of the hippies saw the super mutant steal a crystal and run off. So he followed them just to see where they were taking her.
Gary
was his name. Okay. Gary, that's an important Fallout name.
Look at you, Andrew, with some lore.
Yeah,
go get it.
I finished 3. I think I told you guys that. I finished Fallout 3 last week, and I've started New Vegas. But anyway, so Gary followed the super mutant to where'd he go? To Trinity Church, and as you can imagine, Trinity Church is right by the Trinity Tower and all that. So the Trinity Church, and then he comes back, but on the way back, he is jumped. Or let's see, I don't even remember. He's trying to sneak by and gets caught by raiders, so he has to kill one of the raiders, and then he runs back home. So anyway, he gets back home and he's like, okay, here's the situation. The little girl is in Trinity Church, but raiders are on their way here now to kill us. So then we are presented with, then I love this structure in the quest that actually has consequences. If you do one thing, one bad thing's going to happen. You can't avoid something bad happening in this quest, which is really great way to structure the quest. I really like how this one is set up. And it's not a long quest. It's not horribly involved. But I just like that if you do one thing, another thing is going to happen. If you do the other thing is going to happen. I just like how that is set up. So now where were we? Pat, we're talking about our options here. Option 1 is to go rescue Crystal, of course, from the super mutants. Option 2 is to let Crystal die and defend the settlement of Fiddler's Green and save the, how many hippies are left? 4 or 5, something like that. Save a handful of hippies at their settlement. So those are our 2 options, guys. What did everyone do?
Well, I was optimistic, and I thought I could save both. But I defended them from the Raiders first. Was my choice.
Yeah. And when I assume 5 or 10 Raiders probably showed up, and you probably dispatched them without much.
Yeah, it was about 4, I think 5 maybe for me.
Gosh. So that's not even a very big attack. So you take care of these Raiders, I assume fairly quickly, but then what happens then? Do you have to also go to the church to figure it out, or do they tell you immediately that you've failed another part? I didn't know.
No, it basically just had me investigate the church next, move on to the church and see if you can find Crystal.
And what did you find?
I found a sad scene, just laying on the ground. I cleared it out of super mutants, a couple missiles into the sanctuary, took care of some super mutants, and I found the pajamas laying on the floor, kind of in the collapsed basement, and Crystal Moonbeam lay dead.
Oh, that is the worst. Could you loot her jammies?
Oh, harsh.
Heartless.
So now this is interesting though, because now you the player character didn't do it, but this mod killed a kid.
Yes, it did.
I did.
That's since Fallout 3, that's been a thing that you can't do. You can't kill a kid.
Can't do Skyrim either, right? Oh no, you can. You have to one little boy.
Is that true? Is there any game that does that?
So Dennis, I don't know if you know, one of the earlier, in the Fallout 1 or 2, there was a point at which one of the games you could kill a kid, you could kill kids, but I think you got a evil reputation or something.
Yeah, there was a major consequence to it, but and off of that they nixed it.
Yeah, and then starting in Fallout 2, you could not kill kids.
Yeah,
and same thing in Skyrim, Fallout New Vegas. You have vanilla Fallout 4. Kids are invulnerable. You can't kill them.
I mean, I'm a rotten SOB, but I mean, come on, killing children. Come on now.
You are
those damn super mutants. They killed her, right?
Yeah, the mod did it. But actually, what I wonder is how did he? Because I think behind the scenes, is that corpse not really a corpse, right? Is it like a thing is it like some kind of object that looks like a dead kid, but is it really a dead kid, right?
Well, they sleep.
It looked
horizontal.
Yeah, she looked dead.
Yeah, technologically, I don't know what it all means, but I thought it was kind of interesting that that was. He did something that in the and again, you the player character can't kill a kid.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a little different. Yeah.
So, Jeremy, you did option. I'm not even sure which is 1 or which is 2, but you decided. I think you did option 2, which was to defend the settlers, and then you found the girl dead. Did you reload and play it the other way as well?
No.
So I played it the other way. Where I said, you hippies are hopeless. This girl at least has some sort of future ahead of her if I can start influencing her life at this point.
Andrew, that is some choose your own adventure bullshit right there. you were like, oh, if you go to page 2, you can get this ending. But if you go to page 5, you might get this ending. And Andrew's like, oh, I'll just flip back and forth. You don't get. It's not fair, Andrew. It's not.
I want I want the power ending. That's it.
Choose your own adventure bullshit. I love it. I love it.
So I went to the Trinity Church immediately. And again, that's a long haul all the way to downtown from the far west side of the map. Yeah, it's the Trinity Tower. I fast traveled down to there, so I don't have to make that trip by foot. Because I was asking you, Jeremy, about the Raider attack, because that happens fairly instantly, if I can remember right. They're like the quest launches, and you have to run by the Raiders in order to go to Trinity.
Yeah.
Honestly, I chose that decision just because of how quickly it happened. I saw a legendary Raider in front of me. My reaction was to fight.
Yeah, that battle is over 100 times before you're even a quarter mile from. That was another timing wise thing that I was thinking about. I was like, man, the Raider attack happens so quickly, but it's like a 2-day walk to downtown from where I am. So I just fast traveled, of course. But that in the back of my head, I was also thinking, there's a weird time to.
That was. I mean, that was a little hard for me to suspend disbelief on that one. That wait a minute, these Raiders are like if it was like something where like the Raiders are going to attack at dawn tomorrow, and then you actually had to make a choice of do you sleep there and wait for the Raiders, or do you go after then? We probably can't hold their mod author to. He said you can only do so much.
Exactly.
But it was a little weird to me. It's like you can't spend 2 minutes killing these Raiders and then spend 2 days getting to Trinity Church. It was a little. I wish it had played out a little differently, just to be a little more. I don't know. I'm not playing this for immersion, but it just seems like it was so goofy that this immediate Raider attack was going to stop you from making this 2-day travel or whatever.
And we definitely invite Chris to come on the Fallout feed and be like, come on, guys. You guys want all these options. I'm busting my ass. I'm not getting paid.
Hey, I'm supporting him on Patreon. Go to 3dnpc.com. Yeah. You can find Chris Takahashi's Patreon page. It's very worthy. He absolutely 100% deserves everything. And not that I'm feeling like, because I've given him all the props that he's doing really hard work for hardly any compensation. But this particular choice was a little troubling to me.
Well, yeah, definitely support Chris, and then when you support him, break his ass and be like, "This didn't work. Come on, Chris, fix it." It's just like Bethesda. We gave you our money. Now fix everything.
And don't you dare charge us for mods. And what do you mean you're releasing Skyrim on another platform?
Creation Club. What the mother?
So let's see. I go and I rescue the girl, which entails emptying out some super mutants. I don't recall there being a ton of super mutants, and not all that highly leveled either. I'm in my upper 70s level wise. There were just brutes, I think, a couple of brutes. But
there's one with doesn't one have a minigun?
Minigun, yeah.
That one could be a little nasty if you're not ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Again, I've got 16 people with me, so it's hard for him to concentrate. It's hard for anyone to concentrate fire on me when I've got 16 meat shields.
So wait, I might have missed it. Andrew, you're level 70. Pat is like what? Level 140?
83, I think.
Oh my goodness.
This is my highest level character I've ever been. Wow. I've never made it out of the 60s.
I've had a different character go to 100, but this is my second highest ever.
Yeah, it's just because I'm in survival mode, which I haven't played before, which you gain so much more experience for everything that you accomplish.
And like a year and a half ago, Andrew's like, I'll never play survival. Now he's like, I'm level 240. I'm eating. I'm taking on the wasteland. Get out of my way.
This vanilla survival mode is obnoxious. If you can tweak it a little bit to have saves and fast travel, then I'm all for survival mode. It's great. But the limitations that normal survival mode puts on you it's too much, in my opinion, especially for the roundtable format like Pat was mentioning earlier. If we're on a time schedule, I don't want to be playing the same thing over and over and then, oh, fuck, I haven't saved, I haven't found a bed in 2 hours, so now, crap, I have to go play all that again? Like, no. I don't have time for that, especially with the roundtable. But it is incredible to all the experience that you get.
Well, it is a tip of the hat to Andrew and Pat, people that have played the Roundtable, because it's one thing to do a play along, but when you have to consistently get out, content, it's not so easy. I have fallen by the wayside. I have failed. Pat and Andrew deserve all the props in the world because it's not an easy thing to do. So
whatever, life happens, and it happens to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
No, life does not happen. You play the game. You own the game. Next up, the New Vegas Roundtable.
Wow, that's something we will also get into here in just like a couple of minutes. We'll talk about the future of the show, where we're going to be heading over the next couple of months. We got lots of exciting news coming up. But after you clear out a couple of super mutants there at the church, I believe there's the collapsed floor that Jeremy was mentioning that goes to the bottom floor of the church. And down there, she's just standing, happy as could be, ready to go back. And you interact with her, and you say, "Come on, let's head on back home." So we go back home, and then she's there, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Cosmos, Stardust, hey, everybody, hey, how you doing? What's going on?" She's like, it takes her an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that these people aren't just sleeping. You know what I mean? Like the character's talking to these corpses, like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, Cosmos, why aren't you talking to me, Cosmos? Hello? Anyway, so eventually she comes to the realization that these people aren't waking up, and you get to the point where, of course, where you can offer for her to come back with you to your settlement. And I was like, "Oh, great! This is awesome. I'm going to have yet another settler." And it's always cool to have, varying settlers. Another kid and the cool jammies would be fun to have running around the settlement. But then she refuses. She's like, "Nah, I'll be fine here." You're like, what? I just thought that was really remarkable. So at that point, you're then tasked with cleaning up the dead bodies around the place. So I was like, that's kind of weird. I'm not sure how to do this. Do they want me to drag the bodies like out of town, like just because there's a hill over there? Should I just sort of go over to the hill and sort of like push them over the hill? Or there's water, there's a lake like a quarter mile up the road. Do you want me to go, sort of a Viking funeral ship type thing here? What are you wanting, sweetheart? So I dragged all the bodies into the pool at first, and that didn't do anything. I was like, so what's going on here? And I found another body, and then I interacted with it, and it was like, "Oh, harvest hippie meat." I was like, or no,
ew.
Hippie corpse was what the item was called. It was like harvest hippie corpse, and I was like, "Oh, gross." So I harvested 4 hippie corpses. And then the quest marker popped up as I was wandering around. Or no, there wasn't even a quest marker. I found one of the little dirt patches in between the main building off to the side of the pool there. There was a dirt pile with a shovel sticking out, and then you can put your cursor over the shovel. If you interact with the shovel, it'll then say bury your hippie corpses. So after you put them to rest, then the quest ends, and 514 XP and leveled up to 77. So
Nice.
Yeah. And I just thought it was funny that you offered to give her a nice safe environment to come live at, and then she flat out refuses. And I wondered, could other followers from Tales, could you have them at your settlement without following you? Could you like dismiss Audrey to go back to one of your settlements? Stuff like that. I think you can. So I didn't know.
I dismissed Audrey so long ago. I forget,
Yeah.
but I think she went to one of my settlements.
She's at my settlement, I know.
Yeah. I have like all the settlements, so I don't know where she is.
Was Sadie from the Bordello supposed to become a follower?
I don't remember. But I believe it's
I did not get her as a follower, although maybe I could have. I don't know. She's the guard, right? The one outside?
Yeah. I didn't get her as a follower, but I thought I remembered hearing someone say that. I was trying to remember if she was one or not, but
I believe. Was that Paul? Paul, were you the one with a bunch of different followers, and did you have Sadie and Audrey both? I believe that might have been Paul. I'm not sure, but I think that he might have had both of them. I could be wrong, of course. Oh, yeah, so anything else? I thought this was a very fun quest, aside from the weird timing of having to go downtown.
All my nitpicking aside, I agree. It was neat, and I think that the killing the kid, that didn't bother me. I'm not squeamish or anything, but it was a little weird. I was a little weirded out by it, not from a moral perspective. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything else, but it was just the fact that all of a sudden, after paying thousands of hours of Bethesda games where you can't kill kids, and all of a sudden there's a dead kid, it really kind of startled me, and pretty substantially. I was not by any means bothered. I'm not saying you shouldn't have done it, but it was definitely weird.
Well, all in all, Pat, you have to remember that it wasn't you who actually killed the child, and they're just
yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
No, FYI, killing children is wrong, but in the context of the game, it's a little off-putting.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah.
All I'm saying is there is so much just incredible death in this game that you're surrounded by that it has no gravity anymore.
And look, just to put this in perspective, it still doesn't bother me as much as the fact that you get lead from graphite pencils and steel from tin cans. Okay, so that actually bothers me more than the dead kid. So I'm not trying to put myself on any sort of moral high ground or anything else. They're just things that bother me about this game.
So for those of you looking forward to our New Vegas roundtable, here is your moral compass. Enjoy.
Yeah,
You'll have to explain that whole thing to me, the morality code.
Yeah, I thought it was one of my favorites so far, just because it did evoke such an emotion. And I forgot to mention, I also had the option. It was a script. You take her body back home to be buried, and they bury her in the garden where the sun shines the most.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Her sun shines the brightest. There you go.
So they make you go fetch her body and bring that back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's nice. They have a nice funeral scene for you.
And actually, now that you say that,
there was a nice moment where we're gonna bury the body towards the sun, and it was a nice. And everybody else said, screw that.
Have you done a soil analysis report on that section yet?
Exactly. Are there any chlorofluorocarbons, or is there any bad cancer? Something's wrong with that.
Hexachromes.
Did you notice that, Pat?
Right on.
A miss quest popped up after you return the body, and you can attend the funeral.
Well, all right. So this is where I have to So I probably should have gotten that, but I decided to play around with my explosive shotgun and sort of accidentally murdered myself by mistake. So, and then I decided, no, I'm not going to replay this whole because. So I'm so stupid with this game. It's despite the fact that I have quick save enabled, I will still go 2 hours without quick saving and completely lose an hour or 2 hours of gameplay because I'm just a complete idiot. So I did not quick save at all during the course of this quest. So when I accidentally murdered myself at the end, it's I'm not going to replay it again. So I missed that little miscellaneous thing at the end there.
Just FYI for any of our newer Fallout players, and then we've had a couple join in the group recently. Any poignant moment is really, killed by when you say, I pulled out my explosive shotgun and killed multiple people and myself. You might struggle to overcome the role-playing element of that.
Remember, I said up front at the beginning of the show, I'm not role-playing anymore. I'm just power gaming, okay?
Oh, perfect. So
it's a wide open world.
514 XP, and that completes our Tales from the Commonwealth quests for this week. Next episode, we will be going over some. What are we doing? Nuka World quests. The Grand Tour completes over at Star Control, and then the other people will be telling us about Home Sweet Home because I cannot do that one. So we will go through Star Control and Home Sweet Home, next week on the show. Was there any other stuff that you guys needed to get into quest-wise this evening? We do have a couple of other tidbits we'd like to get into before we close out the evening.
Just a reminder, 2 weeks from tonight, on the 20th, we'll be doing our feedback episode. So if you're playing along, want to get some feedback in, hit us up by July 20th for any of those quests, either tonight's quest or next week's quest. You hit us up, drop an email to the show at thefalloutfeed@gmail.com, or hit us up with some audio feedback.
Yeah, and we've even been enjoying hearing from other people who aren't even doing play-alongs. Like Blake was sending in some feedback there because he put Fallout 4 back in and he never completed the game. He just finished that, so you don't even have to be doing a roundtable play-along to send the feedback. Again, like Sarah out there, she's on maternity leave, so she's playing lots of Fallout for the first time, and it's been great to hear everything that she's learning. And it's been 2 weeks or a week at least since she sent in her last feedback, so I'm sure she's gotten into a whole lot more trouble, assuming she hasn't gone into labor or anything yet. So yeah, that's great. We love hearing any and all feedback. If you guys are just playing Fallout for the first time, if you're playing older Fallout games, like we'd love to hear your Fallout and your Fallout 2 adventures. I've never heard anyone play Tactics. What the hell is that like? I just completed Fallout 3. I'd like to hear everyone's opinions on that game in comparison to 4 and New Vegas. I'm about, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20% into New Vegas at this point. So I just like to hear everyone's reactions, what they have to say about the Fallout series. Send all your feedback to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com.
Hey, quick shout out. We got a couple folks in the chat. So Paul and Sean are hanging out, doing a little bit of chatting. So thank you guys for watching live. Paul, I'm not sure when he posted this. He probably posted it back when we were talking a couple minutes ago about Tails Quest. He says Audrey and Birdie apparently are the Tails. I think he's responding to the Tails.
The Tails
followers who you can assign to your settlement. So yeah, thanks guys for hanging out for a bit in the chat.
Yeah, that's great, awesome, Paul. Thanks for stopping by.
And Sean also, yeah.
Sean, he says his 10-year-old just walked by and says, "That sounds like some dark stuff you're watching."
It's only dark when I comment.
Hopefully he heard all about the killing children. So.
Yeah, murdering children in their little astronaut footy pajamas and their teddy bears. Yeah.
If you're listening to Paul. All right, so
if you want happiness, go listen to the Dark Brotherhood play along. It's all rainbows and sunshine over there, kiddo. Enjoy.
No.
Love it. Hey, speaking of that other show on this fine network, rumors of an Oblivion roundtable in the works over on the Elder Scrolls side of the Bethesda land. So keep it listening for that. That should be a blast.
AKA the Potato Face play along.
Hey,
there's a mod for that. Don't worry.
I went out and I bought a copy for the Xbox 360, and it's reverse compatible for the Xbox One. So I'm going to be doing a play along. I'll be contributing as much audio feedback as I can for those guys over there at the Skyrim Roundtable. But instead of Skyrim Roundtable, they'll be doing Oblivion Roundtable.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I'm going to be trying to play along as best as I can because at the same time, in tandem, we are planning on doing the Fallout New Vegas roundtable over here. Fallout Feed.
AKA the Pat play along.
The Pat Show.
No. It's all about the listeners, man. It's all about the play along.
Pat's gonna get really sick of New Vegas because he's finished the quest and he's getting
not possible.
He's getting through all of the DLC here pretty soon for his Arthur Let's Play Fallout. You can also find those shows here on the Fallout feed. So check out Arthur, his quest through Fallout New Vegas, and then get ready for the roundtable because we will be visiting the Mojave Wasteland. And again, I'm just playing it. I have no idea what New Vegas is all about. I don't know how the structure of the game works, how you assign all this. So it's going to be a lot different for me. So I'm going to need a lot of help from you guys setting up the show.
Yeah. So there's differences, right? There's no marrying. There's no player homesteads. There's no romancing. So some of those elements that we've used in both Fallout 4 and Skyrim, don't apply to New Vegas. But there's other things like I think the key thing, Andrew, I told you this in our Facebook chat. I think the key thing is making sure we cover all the 4 different factions: the Legion, the NCR, Mr. House, and Independent New Vegas through Yes Man. I think to me that's kind of it's somewhat the equivalent of Brotherhood, Railroad, Institute, Minutemen, but I think it's a lot deeper because the interactions among the factions are a lot more subtle, and the interactions with the sub factions are much more subtle. So with the Boomers and the Khans and the well, I don't want to spoil it, but the people in the Ultralux Casino, it's just a lot more complexity of how they interact. And I think some of that will emerge as we go through the roundtable.
Well, see, I get to be the bad guy. I'm
stop
the
it. Just stop it. You're always the bad guy, Dennis.
I'm the bad cop. New Vegas is the overwhelming. We had a poll. New Vegas won. So there's no reason why we should not be getting involved in this roundtable. So everybody needs to step up their game and get involved in New Vegas. We're all ready for the Mojave.
Yeah.
Pat has led us to the promised land.
How would one play New Vegas on the newer consoles that came out on 360? No, as you're saying,
if you have it's backward compatible on for Xbone, it is backwards compatible to 360.
Yes.
So if you have the disc, or if you don't have the disc, you can buy. So for me, I had the disc and I purchased the DLC, and so my Steam, my Xbox Gold account knows that I have the DLC. So when I load it into my Xbone, it'll grab the DLC. And that, for me, I've repurchased it on PC. So there's a lot of ways to get it. So if you physically have a disc for PS3 or for Xbox 360, it should work on your PS. I think actually I shouldn't say about PS4. I don't. Do you guys know? Is it backward compatible for PS4?
I cannot confirm that.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure about. But for Xbone, it's backwards compatible to 360. You can buy it on Steam. For your PC, or I believe you can also buy it on Good Old Games if you prefer Good Old Games because it's not DRM. So there's a bunch of different ways to get it.
Would I be able to use Amazon in any way? Maybe use that code, or is that a possibility? Maybe not.
I don't know. Like Amazon is like a Prime Gaming or something, or
I don't know if I could get a download code or something.
Yeah, you might be able to. Yeah, it's quite possible.
I like that Andrew lean in. I can neither confirm nor deny. But we need to talk about for people that are playing it on the master race. So come up, talk about your mods.
The good thing about it is it's an old game, so you don't have to have a super jazzy PC to play it.
Yeah,
it'll play on some pretty slow PC hardware. So if people have an old PC lying around, it'll probably run it.
So there's people like Saucer Dave who have done decent playthroughs for that. Come out, get your mods. Let's get working.
Yeah, Sean in the chat says he's got the Good Old Games version. So I think some people who are streamers like the Good Old Games version because I think the DRM sometimes will not work with Steam as well as the non-DRM version. So actually, it's not too early. Andrew, I don't know if we're going to have a spreadsheet or if we're going to be pulling stuff out of a cup or whatever. But
it might be going back to the cup.
Actually, you know what? This might be a fun episode if we get people. At the end of the Nuka-World roundtable, maybe we'll get some cups ready and pull some names out of cups for the assignments for the New Vegas roundtable.
Yeah, that also means we need at least four solid people who will show up. And if we need to make sure each person goes through a faction, we need to have
yeah. So we'll probably we'll either want four or at least you're right, at least four to get one faction. Not it for the NCR because I've been there, done that with Arthur.
So Andrew's looking at you. He's judging you. Get in there.
So
I'm being judged.
Brief word. So Paul in the chat said he's having issues in Windows 10 with his Steam version. Paul, I'm actually I'm running Windows 10. I'm okay with Steam, so I think there may check online. I'm not the tech expert. I'm just lucky that mine just like didn't have that issue. I've definitely heard people having issues running Steam, Fallout New Vegas, and Windows 10, but there's other people like me who've had luck and have not had any issues. So it's a bit of a mixed bag.
So for anybody that's interested, the reason we're not running a Fallout 3 is because Windows 10, forget about it. You're doomed. So that's why we're doing New Vegas.
Yeah, I think New Vegas is a little better than 3. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to do with that poll on the crushing defeat of Fallout 3.
Crushing. Absolutely crushing.
Actually, if you want to get into the poll on Facebook, it was a little bit more drastic, but on Twitter, it was only 44% to New Vegas and 33% to Fallout 3. So the rest of them were wanting us to play the top-down.
It's all bots voting on Twitter, though. It doesn't count.
Well, yeah, the 13 bots.
Get your.
You can't have a 600 episode Let's Play of New Vegas and not do a New Vegas roundtable. Sorry, folks.
We're gonna make him sit through it.
No, but the great thing about New Vegas is it's so multi-threaded compared to 4 or to 3. It's really nicely done. I mean, the graphics are not as good. The graphics, I mean, Dennis, would you say it's a lot better than Oblivion, but not nearly as good as 4, but much better than Oblivion?
Well, that's where you come from. The graphics are definitely a step up, but if you're talking about being a part of the wasteland, and I'll never vote against 3 for the aesthetic, but definitely for the choice as far as the quests go, New Vegas is where you want to go. So I think that's the better choice for a roundtable.
Yeah.
It's going to be confusing, just like if you were a part of the railroad in Fallout 4, there's a large fucking section of the story where you are basically doing the Institute storyline.
Yeah.
Like 8 quests in a row. You're doing, they call it undercover, like espionage work that you're doing. But basically all you're doing is fucking doing the Institute storyline for a while. But then you eventually reveal that, oh wait, no, I'm really in the railroad. So, but what this looks like, each faction has their own sort of like main quest line that they don't necessarily interact like that, though. And from what I've read, Pat, is that?
Yeah, so that's right. And so there's 4 major factions, and at the end of the game, one of those 4 major factions will be on top. But then there's also 4 or 5, 6 minor factions that each major faction kind of has, you can have different outcomes. There's the Powder Gangers and the Boomers and the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood of Steel is a minor faction in New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And the Boomers and the Cons and Jacobstown, and there's all these other little side things you can do that you can kind of go different ways with. You can't completely ignore them, but you can like make them a minor part of your playthrough, or you can really dive in and do like every major minor faction. So in that regard, I think it's a lot more optionality. Like in Fallout 4, there's like the Cabot family side quest, and there's the Covenant side quest, and those are great side quests. I love both of those, but they don't really relate to the main quest in any way.
No, yeah.
Whereas in New Vegas, all those kind of little side things, they kind of wrap around and relate back into the main quest, which is why I think it's such a nicely conceived storyline, because things you do at level 5 with the Cons will come back and affect the end of the game at level 45 when you're playing with the Legion or whatever.
And I think that's the big drawing point for what Obsidian did, is that a choice affects what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So if you decide you're going to do this at level 1, 20 levels later, it has a repercussion for that, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas, in Fallout 4, you do those side quests and they're great, but they don't really. Now, I think in four, maybe the closest thing is like in Far Harbor, you go to Far Harbor with Nick and like there's interaction. And you think about that, but extend it to the entire game. And that's kind of the way New Vegas plays out. The things that you do with sub-faction A and sub-faction B kind of come back at the end. And at the end, there's sort of little narrative, little bits that say, that kind of bring closure to the game in a really nice way. I think some people and that's not universal. I mean, some people don't like the closure. Some people like things to just be completely open-ended, and I get that because it means you can really tell your own story. But I think New Vegas does a really nice job of kind of bringing that to the end.
No,
when you get to the end of New Vegas, you're going to hear the end of the story, and I think it's
at the end of the day, it comes down to for New Vegas, the bold choice is you made this choice, live with it. You're not going to get every satisfactory ending. You're going to be cut off, and you're not going to hear the whole story. Whereas 4, you're going to, if you play through the game, you're going to hear the whole story. You might not get a little flavor here and there, but you will still get the whole story. New Vegas doesn't give you all that if you don't go down the right road.
And you're gonna make Sherry cry, though. Everyone's got to get along.
No.
You gotta more factions get along. Come on.
Honestly, it sounds like it's the perfect game for a roundtable.
No, it really is. So I think what we're going to have to decide is what we want to specify versus what we want to let be kind of open. And Dennis, you're really familiar with the game. I was thinking we would specify faction, special, and your 3 tag skills, and then let everything else kind of be the player's choice. I don't know if you think there's other things we should specify for the roundtable.
Well, I think we should specify less. I think the tag skills. Normally, the roundtable goes to playing outside of your comfort zone, but I think the factions and what you're going to do in the game is outside of your comfort zone. So, however you feel your character from a role play standpoint, maybe it's not specifically your stats. And I'm all about the stats. I want to be everything about the stats, but I think the New Vegas storyline kind of leads us out of that. So I think it's more about what you feel as you're playing the game. But
I think we could get a little. Well, we have to balance, right? I think we have to do a little more than just faction. I think we want to give a little more guidance because there's faction, but there's also kind of that's why I was thinking we should, and we don't have to decide tonight. We could debate it back and forth and get feedback from listeners. But to me, it feels like we should specify because I don't think we want 4 people playing Legion, NCR, Mr. House, Yes Man, but everybody's doing sneaky sniper or whatever. I think we want some diversity of how people are approaching the game in terms of are you sniping? Are you speechifying? How are you getting across the waist? I think we want a little diversity.
And that's a big thing from people who have played New Vegas as opposed to people who have not played. Maybe people that haven't played it before that don't understand the scope of the game, or need a little bit more direction as opposed to people that are more familiar with the storyline and the story options. Maybe that's kind of where they need to go.
Yeah, I don't know. As we have to think about it. We can, like for me, like my only thing is like I'm not going to do NCR and I'm not going to do explosives. Beyond that, I don't care. I'll do other options. But there's a couple things just because of the Arthur playthrough. But for me, I'm not going to do. Beyond that, I'll do whatever the random draw is. But I don't know. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, I think for somebody who's not played it at all, we may want to say, pick, sneak, guns, and repair or whatever, and say tag those 3 skills. Yeah.
It coincides with what the Oblivion Roundtable is going to be. It's difficult to say, all right, we're going to pick random stats for Oblivion when you're actively working to improve X, Y, and Z stat. So it's more metagaming as opposed to how the role playing is going to go.
Yeah.
Can you? See, I'm still kind of figuring out how, even though the Fallout 3 system was either very similar or exactly the same, the New Vegas and Fallout 3 sort of like, I think you guys said tag skills or perks or however those are signed. I'm really confused about.
So forget your definitions that are in Fallout 4. So forget Fallout 4 for a second.
I can't do that, Pat.
Yeah, put it out of your head.
Flush it in.
Flush it. Yeah. So, all right. So you have a special, which is the same. You have the same. Although this is one key difference is in Fallout 4, you start with an average of 4. So you start with 28 special points. In New Vegas, you start with 45 special points.
What?
No, sorry. 24 plus 15, 39 special points. So if you pick in Fallout 4, if you average everything out, you get 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 for everything. In New Vegas, you get 4 6s and 3 5s. So there's a little more special points to start with. And then, so that's just your special. That's that. Then the things that you think of as perks in Fallout 4 are a combination of things that are called skills and perks skills, perks, and traits. Actually, there's really 3 things. There's skills, perks, and traits. Skills are, there's 11 skills. Guns.
Andrew's mind is blown.
Yeah. He's gonna be an expert at this by the end. There's like 11 skills: guns, explosives, energy weapons, blah blah, lockpick, blah blah blah. And when I say tag, there's a tag thing where 3 of those skills at your character creation get a 15-point bonus, and they go from 0 to 100. Then there are perks that you get every 2 levels. And perks do like little small things, like Bloody Mess is a perk in New Vegas. Demolition Expert is a perk in New Vegas.
Those are perks in 4 too.
Yeah, but they kind of work differently. There's a little bit of a difference because, like, so for example, in New Vegas, lockpicking is a skill, but Bloody Mess is a perk. Right. So 4 kind of merged the 2 together and kind of made it one big ginormous, like 7 by 10 perk tree.
Okay.
Whereas New Vegas has 11 skills that you can advance, and then perks that you get over the course of building up your character.
Those are basically like the different bobblehead categories in Fallout 4.
Well, but that's right. Yeah, because New Vegas doesn't have bobbleheads.
Big guns, little guns. New Vegas has no bobbleheads. And I know that they exist in Fallout 3, but can you play the game without finding a fucking bobblehead? I think I may have managed to do it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think they put them in the main quest. I think they hid them all around in side quests and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple. Like you find there's one in Megaton, but you have to kind of pursue Megaton in a particular way to find it.
Okay.
For example, in Fallout 3.
I was just surprised though. I was like, wait a second, are there no bobbleheads? And then I was reading about the bobbleheads in Fallout 3. And I was like, wait a second, there are bobbleheads. I just managed.
Yeah, there's the same. Yeah, Fallout 3 has the same bobbleheads as 4. I think there's 20. I think there's all 20.
Holy crap! I can't believe it.
There's a 7 special.
Yeah.
And then, no, I take that back. I think it's 18 because there's a 7 special and the 11 skills. I think that's right. It's like 15, 18 somewhere. There's plenty of bobbleheads in 3. You just got to find them.
Oh man, yeah. I just mowed through 3. I did not do a lot of side stuff. I just kind of
yeah. There's I get it. I mean that's I would say that I don't think 3 is quite as open world as either New Vegas or 4.
I was doing the same thing.
Heretics.
Yeah.
He mowed through 3. I don't think 3 is worth as much as New Vegas.
I didn't say that at all.
3 has some very, very precise.
Yeah.
Get into the wasteland. Get into post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
It punishes you. It's dirty. It's grimy. You got to wash yourself.
It's definitely
Playing 3.
more depressing. Just the whole environment is way worse in 3 than it is. When I opened up New Vegas, I was
Yes,
like,
it's depressing, Andrew. It's not, oh, Travis, come out and hang out with me. Oh, be my friend. We can hang out and do quests together. Yes, it's gritty. It's 3 dog. Shoot 3 dog. Shoot 3 dog.
going from Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas was like Dorothy opening the door in her black and white world to opening up the fucking Oz. It was incredible.
Nice.
Fallout 3 is just brutal and one like sort of drab grayish green color scheme, and it is relentless. That color, inside or outside, it doesn't matter where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
That's your color choice. And so
Come into the subway, Andrew. Come to the subway.
To open up New Vegas, it's just like there's beautiful like golden sand and bright fucking blue skies and puffy white clouds, and it's beautiful. And then I'm walking around and I'm thinking one of my first impressions of the Mojave Wasteland is this is a fucking desert, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference between a desert and a nuclear apocalypse. Like, it doesn't seem like the people are all that bothered by the nuclear apocalypse that happened, or are they just further away from the nuclear blast? I'm not into the game very far. I don't know. Was Las Vegas directly hit by a bomb?
No, this is the problem with 3. 3 is we just got hit. We're bombed out. We're fighting super mutants.
Yeah.
New Vegas is, oh, hi, Andrew. Welcome to the Mojave Wasteland.
So Dennis, you're saying we need to give Andrew the Wild Wasteland trait for his first playthrough. That'll really burst his noodle, as
Which one is that? I may have actually taken that. That sounds
so there's
no, Andrew is like, all right, Fallout 3. How many followers do I have? 2.
I didn't find it.
In Fallout New Vegas, how many followers do I have? 4. Better.
Still not great. I couldn't recruit either of. I only found 2 people who were possible to be my followers in Fallout 3. One was a super mutant Fox, I believe.
Fox, yeah.
Guy Fox.
And one of the scientists from the Brotherhood of Steel.
This one, Andrew.
I'm thinking are there 4 in Fallout 3, Dennis?
No, there's the gal. Ugh, she's, oh my god, I can't remember her name.
My what is it called? Your good or bad meter. What is your morale?
Karma.
Your karma. My karma was always so low that no one would follow me when I tried.
You must have been really bad. It's hard to be that evil in Fallout 3.
I'm pretty sure Andrew was saying, come a chameleon.
And speaking of chameleons, where's my death claws at?
There's not very many. There's many fewer death claws in 3. There's a couple locations where they're highly concentrated, but they're not all over like they are in the other games.
I may have not found a bobblehead. I may have not found a death claw. I did find dog meat,
Did you play Fallout?
Because I looked up where dog meat was and sought him out, and then I immediately took him away because he was the worst. He just died every 2 seconds, and I got tired of reloading.
But he gets recycled. You can actually go pick up a fresh dog meat.
What?
Yeah. Dog meat will like a little while after he dies, he'll respawn.
No. When dog meat dies, he's dead. Follower is dead. No, you can't get him back. Dead.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
Anyway,
and
there's a dog meat puppy that replaces him.
Oh,
right. You go back and eventually he'll be replaced by a puppy, right? Not like literally a puppy.
That's awesome. I'm glad.
I think that's right.
The only problem is I can't revisit that character because once you complete the end, the game is over.
Yeah. Now, do you have the DLC?
That version I do not. I was playing that on Xbox One I got a digital copy of the game that came with my Fallout 4 bundle.
They didn't give you the DLC?
There was no DLC included.
Fuckers, man. That
Yeah,
sucks.
But I went and picked up New Vegas for PlayStation 3 before Fallout 4 came out, and I was playing that on there. So I've been playing New Vegas on my PlayStation 3, which is actually fun to pull out the old PlayStation. The controller is so weird and small compared to my Xbox One controller. Amazing.
Oh, so you play New Vegas and you're like, oh, I've got Arcade and I've got Craig and I've got Lily, I've got Raul, I've got Rose, I've got Veronica, I've got Eddie, I've got Rex.
You need to go slower. Are those other followers?
Those are the 8 followers, yeah.
Oh my god.
You could double up Rex or Eddie. You could have one of Rex or Eddie and then one of the humanoid followers.
Well, I found Boone already. Eddie, we'll see. I think I ran into Eddie, but I don't think my robotics is good enough to fix him yet.
But you can collect shit to fix him too. You can either do it with repair or stuff.
Okay, so I probably need to go find some stuff or something.
Yeah. It's like a couple sensor modules, couple scrap electronics. It's not hard.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, us poor Fallout 3 people only get Star Pilot and Cross and Butch and Clover.
I don't know this people.
Sergeant,
Guy Fawkes,
and Jericho, and Fox, and
Brotherhood.
Dogmeat. That's all we got. Sorry.
That's a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm having fun in New Vegas. There's a lot of stuff that I'm still learning, about the game. It seems pretty different, at least with assigning stuff, and that's what I'm going to need help with. At least with Skyrim and Fallout 4, it seemed like we got our pattern down, and we can just kind of go through, and we made a nice random stats producer. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a random sheet made up like that. Before Marcus came along, Juan had actually constructed one for Skyrim for us. So I don't know if that's something Juan has interest and time to do to maybe help us with a New Vegas random stats generator, or like Pat mentioned, it would be a fun episode just for me to get like all the little cups and all the stats and everything out here and just start drawing out random characters like we used to do in the Skyrim Roundtable back in the day.
Well, I mean, in honesty, with these games being older than what they are, I mean, do we need a random stats generator? I mean, if you're playing Skyrim over and over and over again, you need a random stats generator because you played it many times. But I mean, we're talking about games that are 10 to 8 years old. So do we need to have a random stats generator for?
I think we should, just because it's kind of like a roundtable tradition, right? I think we should randomize.
I think that's but that's just me. I think it's a fun aspect of the show, but we can do whatever that serves.
Well, look, I mean, I think we did it with this roundtable, right? We said, look, here's a random generator here, but if you don't like that, do whatever you want and still send us feedback. I think we can do the same thing with New Vegas. I think for like the core, whoever we wind up with the core, 4 to 6 people or whatever that are kind of the core of the roundtable, I think we'll want those to make sure we cover the 4 factions, blah blah blah. But then in terms of the play along, people do whatever the hell they want. We want people to have fun with it, right? So I think sometimes it like when I was doing Skyrim for the first time, I wanted it to be random, just so I wanted the randomness to sort of say go in this direction. I wound up with, guess what, a sneaky archer. I went up with a Bosmer, with archery and sneak, shocking, but on the other hand, you may have somebody who's played New Vegas 10 times, wants to do the round table, and they may have various, they may want to know, like I want to be randomized just for that reason. So I don't know. I think we should. I think it's we had the Fudge Muppet builds or whatever else. I think for the core participants, we should randomize. Everybody else will randomize or not. We don't care. We want people to have fun playing along.
Well, I think that's a good point from the community. If you haven't played, or if you have played many times, what do you think about if you have experience with those games, especially with Oblivion or Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, it's not the same as Fallout 4, where it's a perk system. It's a little bit more, you are having to manipulate you're actively having, if you want to acrobatics in, say, Oblivion, you have to jump, and you're jumping over and over again. If you're familiar with those games, what do you think you're looking for to have a random character? If you haven't played these games before, what's fair?
And I haven't played, so I have no idea what's fair.
You'll take what we give you, Andrew, and you'll like it.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as I'm not a dude, right?
Yeah. So that in some respects is the most brilliant thing about Fallout New Vegas. It doesn't matter what gender you are.
Now, Andrew, roll first.
Dude or lady? Yeah, no. So yeah, I'll have to start another character and sort of go through and write down everything that I see as I'm experiencing it, and go through. There's like a personality machine.
Yeah, all that does is tell you how you answer those questions, gives you your 3 tag skills.
And you can alter those.
And then you have the option to go in and alter. So I think what we should do is just say, for anybody that wants us to pick the character, I think we should pick special. We should pick the 3 tag skills. We should pick the 2 traits that you pick at the beginning of the game. And that's it. I think we should let people go from there and kind of run. But yeah, we could pick follower if we want to. I'm kind of indifferent. With Skyrim, we say, or in Fallout 4, we say, here's a follower. And we encourage people to like make sure they kind of do that. Like in Fallout New Vegas, every follower has like a quest line. You don't romance them or anything like you do in Skyrim, but they have kind of like a quest line.
It's one of 2 choices in Fallout New Vegas. And I love the game, but in all honesty, if you want the game to be difficult, pick no personality, no social skills. If you want it to be hard, just don't pick any personal skills.
Otherwise, you can convince people just to
exactly. It's all about smoothing over and smooth talking people.
The flip side of that, though, is if you do that, you can play the game without killing people if you choose to, right? And it is all but impossible to do that in New Vegas or Sky. So that's the flip side of that, right? If you're right on you can say that picking the social skills makes New Vegas quote unquote easy, but on the other hand, it's like, well, wait a minute, you can challenge yourself to go that with it without killing people.
Pat, I have a commune that you should check out called Fiddler's Green. Some nice hippies you should be living with.
Yeah. So I mean, I think again, the classic thing about New Vegas, so like there's like kind of different ways you can go. Because you're right, Dennis. If you sort of pick some of the social skills, it's like you can talk anybody into doing anything. But in a way, that's kind of cool. If you focus your character on building that muscle of the character,
it's one of those things for people that have played it as opposed to who have not played it. If you haven't played the game and you want to, introduce yourself to it, play the way you want to. But if you're somewhat familiar with the game and you want to challenge yourself, back off the social skills a little bit, and it makes it a little bit more difficult.
And so really who I want to hear from at this point, in between now and the end of our current season of the Roundtable, I want to hear from all of the people who are really hardcore Fallout fans who played New Vegas to death. What is your personal opinion how to apply that to the Roundtable? What should we be assigned? Pat says the special, the 3 tags, the 2 traits, and perhaps a follower. If you, the listener, play along participant, we're going to set up this Fallout Roundtable for New Vegas. What aspects of the game would you like to see assigned randomly? What are the parts of the game that we can exploit to our purposes of the show to make the characters as different from each other as possible to get as many aspects and viewpoints and different angles from the game that we can. That's the whole purpose of this. So we'd like to hear from the listeners out there, anybody who has lots of experience with New Vegas. What are those aspects of the game that need to be paid attention to?
Yep.
What else we got, guys? Philly Podfest coming up. It'll be about a week from when this show publishes, right?
Week from Sunday, so it's going to be July 16th, I think, is the Sunday.
Sunday, July 16th, 5 p.m. at, where was that?
Tattooed Moms on South Street, Philadelphia.
Tattooed Moms on South Street, Philadelphia for the Philly Podfest 2017. We hope to see everyone out there again, July 16th, 5 p.m. at Tattooed Moms, South Street, Philadelphia. God, that's going to be so fucking cool, guys.
Yeah.
And we're all going to fight. You can come see all the Fallout Feed people battle out and be like, New Vegas, Fallout 3.
Yeah.
No, Fallout 4.
Fight.
And Andrew will be like Fallout 4 with Travis and
Travis is tough.
my all my other followers. And oof.
Man, Travis is a fucking warlock. How can he be talking on the radio and standing next to you at the same time?
The magic of tape delay.
So also a little bit of network news for ASA Podcasting. Please check us out at asapodcasting.com. There you can find all of our information about all of our shows, including a Skyrim Addict podcast and the Fallout feed, and including the soon-to-be 50th episode of ASA Game Talk. Jeremy has been doing a wonderful job putting together the ASA Game Talk show for the last, over a year and some change. So let's go ahead.
Jeremy actually plays more than 2 games.
Yeah,
Thank
it's amazing.
It makes my brain hurt.
Unreal.
Yeah, me too. I can't think of it. I play, God, I've even sort of eliminated the Skyrim. I'm not even doing Elder Scrolls much. I've expanded my Fallout games from Fallout 4 to Fallout 3 and now New Vegas, so that's how I'm branching out. That's a really nice wide array of games for me. But at Game Talk, everyone's hitting episode 50, so please send some emails over to asagametalk@gmail.com with words of encouragement and congratulations for Jeremy. It's been a fun ride to listen to all of his adventures and to get the news and perspectives from the gaming world, because you really don't hear a whole lot of variety in our sort of shows. It's really focused on our 2 sort of narrow games here. So it's great that Jeremy has brought a whole new world to our ASA podcasting, and we congratulate him for 50 episodes. We'd love everyone to send in a little word of congratulations, an audio file to his email address, asagametalk@gmail.com. If you can't do that, send in just an email, and we would appreciate everyone sending support his way. So please do that, and thanks everyone for doing so. Other than that, let's see. King of the Bunker Hill, we're going to have another recording batch coming up, so we'll have another bunch of episodes to publish there. Right now, it looks like Ray he's got 3 of the many figures coming his way, and so far that is in the lead. Mathematically, if Ray wins one more, I believe mathematically it'll work out that Ray will win it all. So it comes down to basically the next episode. Ray, who will it be?
Wow, high drama
for Ray. So yeah, and again, off in the fall, usually late fall, early winter, we do a charity stream for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. My child, Moses, has cystic fibrosis. So Michael was nice enough a couple of years ago to say, hey, why don't we just throw together like a little fun event, see if we can raise a few bucks for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And the first year we raised around $500. The second year we were over $2,500. So we've had great success so far, and it's been wonderful. So everyone, keep in mind, we're going to be starting to do that. So if you have any suggestions about what sort of content you would like to see on our charity stream, please go ahead and send us an email to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com, and we'll see what kind of stuff we can get together. If you have any ideas, if you have any relatives with cystic fibrosis or anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. And we usually sort of line it up with the release of a game, like we've done it with the Skyrim re-release, and we did it with Fallout 4. So those were two big events that happened around the same time of year.
Just deal with the fact that we're going to be releasing Fallout New Vegas, and that is our new release for this year.
Well, maybe the Skyrim Switch or something will drop around that time, and we can do yet another Skyrim Switch roundtable or something.
Well, some people only like Andrew are available to get a Switch. All the rest of us commoners are waiting for ours.
What? Hey man, I'm in line. I've just got a setup for a guy. If he finds one, then maybe I can get my hands. Pat's already owns one. Man, he's like sitting up on cloud 9 over there playing Zelda all by himself.
Yeah, I'm kind of playing Fallout.
He hasn't even turned it on, Andrew. He hasn't even turned it on. You're sitting there aching for it, and he's like, it's over in the corner. Never mind.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and toss this out here. When I do get my Switch, we are starting the ASAPodcasting Mario Kart. We're going to set it up exactly like the NASCAR scoring system, and we will race just like a real racing league. And I'll have to learn because I have no idea how auto racing points work. So we'll have to set that up. But that sounds like a fun time to me. So we're gonna have a Mario Kart league once I finally do get my hands on a Switch, if that ever freaking happens. I'm hoping it happens before the Podfest so I can take it on the airplane with me, right? That'd be fun.
I'm pretty sure if you do get a Switch, when you come up to Podfest, I'm going to jack you and beat you down for your Switch.
I'm not gonna
mine.
I'm not gonna be flashing it on South Street. That's for damn sure. Yeah, man, I haven't been on South Street in about 18 years.
You won't recognize it.
Well, Pat is all about the Southie.
No. I am such a child of the suburbs. So
Let's go bar hopping on Southie. No, it's great. I've got nothing else. Jeremy, do you have anything you'd like to get into, or Pat, or Danny?
I am tapped out.
Great. Yeah. So
I'm only here to keep up Pat past 12 o'clock at night. So I've got 20 more minutes. Stay awake, Pat. Stay awake.
Oh man,
I'll fight a little more here for him. Say Lee just hopped into the chat, so I'd like to say hi to Lee as we're signing off for the evening. Thanks a lot for hopping on, Lee. Good to hear from you, buddy. We'll get into Lee sending some feedback. We'll get into that here in the next episode or so. I believe I mentioned everything. Our website again. If you're going to do any shopping for this upcoming season, the back to school or whatever your guys are getting ready for, please go to our website, asapodcasting.com. Click on our Amazon banner, and someone mentioned to me earlier, hey, I can't find your Amazon banner. What happened? Well, he also mentioned, oh, wait, my ad blocker was blocking the Amazon banner. So if you're looking for our Amazon banner on asapodcasting.com and you can't find it, try suspending the ad blocker for our site only. We don't have a ton of ads on our site or anything like that. It's just the Amazon banner. So if you can release the ad blocker for just our site, that's a good thing to do. So you can please, if you're doing back to school shopping, like I said, or anyone's got birthdays, whatever coming up, do some shopping on Amazon. Please click through our banner. All of this proceeds, they go directly to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation after our website hosting costs have been met for the year. We do not make any money. That goes all to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, basically our cause that we're working there for.
No, don't be fooled. Andrew's making fat podcast money.
Fat podcast
rolling.
We'd like to hear all your feedback for the roundtable upcoming. We'll see what we're doing. We're doing the Galactic Zone and then Home Sweet Home next week. We'd like to hear all your play along feedback from Indecent Exposure and Love and Peace as well. Send that to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your voice in the form of audio feedback, but we'll also read your email. So go ahead and send us anything about your experiences and any other adventures, like we mentioned before. You do not have to be specific about these quests. We love to hear what everyone is getting into, all your stories and your background, what sort of tales you are weaving with your characters in the wasteland. Check us out on Twitter at the Fallout Feed. Twitch. We got twitch.tv/ASAPodcasting. We also have a Fallout Feed one too, don't we? We have twitch.tv/the Fallout Feed, I believe, as well. Speaking of which, we need to maybe I'll try to Twitch something here in the next couple of days, because we're trying to get some more Twitch activity going on over there. So we'll be sure to post links to that on our Twitter and in the Facebook group, which can be found at facebook.com/groups/a Skyrim Addict podcast. And on that note, I would like to thank Denny and Pat and Jeremy for joining me this evening.
Is Pat still awake?
Yeah.
I'm all over it, man. I think it's actually facebook.com/group/a Skyrim Addict pod. Wait, what is it? A Skyrim Addict?
Skyrim Addict podcast.
It's hard. It's.
Oh, he stayed awake for a correction.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's facebook.com/group/a Skyrim Addict.
A Skyrim.
And the only reason I'm nitpicking because there's like another Skyrim Addict group that if you're not careful, you could stumble onto the wrong group.
Holy
but those
shit!
people,
I was sending all my feedback to them. Oh no!
Delete, out of the club, out! You're booted from the page. You're gone. Out of here.
They're like
admins hanging with the wrong crowd.
That fucking weirdo keeps sending us these long ass forms.
I was like, Andrew, did you see my fat post? He's like, no. What's wrong with you? Go away.
Yeah, but fuck that other group, right? And on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Bye, y'all.
See you.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to ASAPodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, the Skyrim Addict podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
So I won on Redbubble, and I bought a Skyrim flag for Michael for like our Brotherhood of Steel. So
nice.
So I'm trying to give that to him as a gift for all our Skyrim people that won't sign our Brotherhood of Steel flag.
Oh, such fun times, guys. Love you.
So we have to figure out what we're gonna do when you're in town, when you and Vic